right, welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you. And let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch us. Even though you missed the live party, guys, that is the best part. So make sure you're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And just like right now, sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I've been meaning to do this for a few days now, and just other stuff has come up. But I did a debate last week with one of our good friends, Cybercore. Goes by a couple different names. We went by Cybercore. And it came from a discussion that we were having in the Discord community, where I was talking about, despite being an atheist, when it comes to talking about politics, that I want to, talk with conservatives or Christians and people who don't necessarily have the same religious beliefs as me, because we have the same political beliefs. He was wondering why, I would be okay talking about Christian values and stuff like that when I'm not only an atheist, but I'm an anti-theist. I actually want religion to take its rightful place in mythology. And so he had a number of questions about that. And so we set up a debate and we got it in. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have Thomas Sheedy of Atheists for Liberty on that same show, and he was not able to make it. But he did. What's going on with my hair here? Jesus. He did DM me this morning, so we will be getting that done. Shout out to King Nirvana. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we do have, I want to really get into this. I've never done a subscribers only. We've done members only, of course, but we've never done subscribers only chat. So I want to see how that does. If you are not a subscriber, I just set it for 5 minutes. So if you subscribe, 5 minutes later, you're good. So this was the debate, and we were talking with some other stuff. Actually, you know what? Let's back it up a little and watch some. Let's bring it into the vibe of what we were doing. We were doing some stuff with 109, right? So we had some stuff with Nala. Two pieces. Watch the video. Do we have the community notes on? As always, guys, if you can't hear the video, please. Got community noted to hell, because if we actually watch the video, you can tell that is not at all what this video is about. However, it's still a win for me. So really quick, let's shout out our boy Carl Johansson. Welcome, welcome, welcome. That's fine. Prejudge thing. So what it says and go from there.
As a viral creator I went on so many podcasts because I knew the only way to grow my was to be viral. And
okay, so already, if we're watching the video, we're very clear that she's talking about OF, and she's not talking about her conversion, her faith, her beliefs. That's very clear. She's now said OF twice. I know they blocked it out, but the captions are there. So, I didn't make that super, super clear that despite the fact that the text of the tweet was wrong, I still, there's still a point to be made here. Gauntlet said, what? An OF model outs herself. So that means one of the top religious conservative outlets have to. Well, no, because they had her on. So if that's where it's getting confusing, because stick with me. So again, we can clearly see she is not talking about what the tweet was saying. So let's get rid of that and let's just watch the video for what it is. Shout out to Dylan Soup. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party. Just giving a little context to that debate. I think you were here for most of that debate. And then we are going to do debate review. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you.
As a viral creator I went on so many podcasts because I knew the only way to grow my was to be viral. And it's such an oversaturated platform right now. And I've been on it for like 5.5 years. So everything I've said on podcasts is complete clickbait. I did it to go viral to then make money, and it worked. I said whatever I needed to because I understand the male brain and I needed to make money. And I was like,
you lied about everything.
Yeah. pretty much as a viral creator.
So that's the video. That's the video. Again, let's take the text of the tweet out of it. What she just said is, yeah, I'm a person who is willing to lie about my entire lifestyle to make money. So why should I think that you're not doing that right now? I'm not saying that you are. I'm not saying that it has anything to do with OF. I'm not saying it has anything to do with anything except for the fact that you just admitted that you happily, and while you were laughing about it, lied about your lifestyle to make money, and so people would think about you in a certain way. So if you were here yesterday, you might be a little confused because that sounds very similar to what Carl, the same Carl that was in the comments, was saying last night. We happened to also bring up the Nala situation with Andrew Wilson last night, and he was saying some of the same kinds of things. So if you're not really sure, it could seem like I'm kind of playing both sides. But that's why Cybercore and I had this debate. So that we could, kind of figure out what that is. So let's go back. Where were we here? Oh, and then we had Nick come back. Shout out to Nick. All right. So this was the debate. And hey, there he is. Shout out to Carl. Welcome to the party. So again, Carl, I don't know how much of this debate that we're about to watch that you saw, but it'll be interesting to see if maybe that gives you a better understanding of where I was coming from. Because like I was saying, in the way that I was responding to Nala in that clip that we just watched, I was taking a similar type of perspective as you, and it's just I think it's a little bit different for me because I'm not a Christian, and so having that perspective is different. But we'll get into all of that. Hey, shout out to Funk Master General. Welcome to the party. No question, no comment, just pure love of the game. And you guys know every donation comes with a treat for Morty. And that is the first on our swole stream. That is right, guys. 10 of these teal or higher, and we getting swole. And as Quantech would say, you should pay yourselves as well. Shout out to Am. Welcome to the party. Also here did not really like what Carl was saying, but maybe, again, from the other side, maybe this will put things in a little bit better of perspective. So welcome. I'm very glad you are all here. And again, I am, this is the first time I've done a subscribers only chat. So if you are here and you're not a subscriber, it's 5 minutes. You hit subscribe, 5 minutes, and you can start chatting. So thank you. Let's do this. Let's do it. Very good to see ya. All right, Mr. Cybercore. So we had we started a little bit of a discussion yesterday, and we wanted to bring it to YouTube. So why don't I just throw it to you? And we would talk about we were talking about cozying up with Christians. Why don't you talk about your beliefs or lack thereof, and then we can move from there.
Sure. Well, I consider myself an atheist. I'm agnostic towards the word agnostic.
Fair enough.
And I have a general feeling that when it comes to lawmaking and just standard humanitarian values, those things are stronger when we base them on reason. And
shout out to Garrett Grant. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. Yeah, I changed the background a little bit so it doesn't get as confusing. So you can see where we're here, where we're there, and of course, that is, or where am I pointing? That is the full studio. If you are new here, that is usually where we are doing the shows. But welcome, sir. Good to see ya.
And practicality, those things are stronger when we base them on reason and practicality than when we base them on, say, a religion or something like that. But I need you to clarify some things, and I guess we can get into that, like Christian values and stuff like that.
Yep, that was a point of contention. So I guess we could start there. Real quick, do you guys prefer would you guys prefer if I keep more of a focus on your comments tonight up here, or because they block the comments from the stream? So which ones do you prefer, here or the debate? Which comments? Let me know. I guess you had the question, what exactly do you mean when you say Christian values? And so when I'm talking about Christian values, I'm usually talking to a Christian. And so it is a shorthand way to talk about the values that we both seem to care about, meaning grace, love, community, family, all these types of things that may not be inherent to Christianity, but are very central to that religion.
Okay, what values would you include in that?
So again, specifically, we would have love, compassion. We'd have family. We have tradition and ritual. I would say grace and forgiveness. Things like that. I mean, do you? So that's a good and that's a good place to. He's like, I don't want to see the whole comments. All right, so I'll try to work it out. But Anne said, Circuit Board is actually very informative about atheism. Circuit Board, aka Cybercore here. But I didn't follow this entire stream. Word up, yeah. So we'll be able to break that down. Very cool. And yeah, so he definitely has. It's interesting how you can have a really good understanding of your own perspective. But even both of us being atheists, we have different perspectives, because being an atheist doesn't come with tenets, and it's not a religion, it's not a thought process, it's not an ideology. And so atheists are going to be very different in their thinking, except for the one thing that makes them atheists, believe, or rather not believing that a God or a God exists. And again, not saying that I believe no God exists, but simply when you ask the person, do you believe in a God or multiple gods? They say, no, I don't. So a good question here that he started with is asking what are Christian values. And so when I talk about Christian values, I'm not talking about specifically going to church. I'm not specifically talking about praying, but the sentiment behind those things is absolutely what I'm talking about. The idea of giving gratitude to what you have. Being grateful, being grateful for what you have, ritual, spending time with your community and building that community, having rituals and traditions. All of those things are very important. They don't have to be done exactly the way that Christians do them, but Christians choose to do them that way, and I'm all for it. I'm not necessarily going to do them the same way, but I want to have those same things. Those are the values. Plus you're getting tossed all night, so I was lost multiple times through that. Yeah, it got a little wild near the end. I mean, we could sit here. I could give you a whole list, but where are we going with this?
Yeah, I was wondering, because it's I guess those can be Christian values.
Self-conscious.
I guess just as an atheist, as I'm sure you understand, there's an itch in the back of the teeth when I call them Christian values, considering other Christian values that we often don't acknowledge.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what I was just talking about with like the idea of stoning women for adultery, and the the idea of how you can keep Hebrew slaves more than all that stuff. And I understand that that's Old Testament stuff, but again, we have two atheists here talking
when discussing such things.
Yeah, absolutely, and I definitely agree with that. And but I think more important than being technically correct all the time, because again, I'm willing to have the discussion and dive into the fact, like, well, are these values, is the value of compassion specifically a Christian thing? And I would say no, that is not unique to Christianity, but that is a big part of Christianity, along with a structure of ideas that I think exists within Christianity that I believe can exist outside of Christianity. But when I'm talking to Christians, it's a very easy way to get them to understand which values I'm talking about by just saying Christian values. Yeah, like there's no point in going through the whole list every time if I can just say Christian values and that I'm an atheist, and we can move on and talk about what we're actually talking about. And so I guess the goal of getting people understanding where I'm coming from, so that I can then spread my ideas, is more important than being technically correct about what they think, where they think the values came from in the first place.
I mean, you've got something there, sure. I don't think, because I actually can't see the title. But I saw something about, do we need God, or why don't we get rid of God?
Yeah, I just threw something in
Is
there.
that
Should we
yeah.
get over God? Should we get
It's
over
like, good
God?
luck.
Well, yeah, I know that's the goal here. But why is so? Let me then turn it back on you then. Why
Okay.
specifically? You can see here, like when you asked to debate me, I'm up here saying all the things. When you ask to debate me, then I'm assuming that you have, like, oh, you said X, Y, and Z, and I have an issue with that. Or I heard you say this, but I'm not really sure what you mean. Can you explain more about this? And so, just for future reference for whoever is out there, there was somebody that night that was asking about, oh, I didn't know we could do this. It needs to be like, you can't just come to me and be like, hey, let's have a chat. Because we could do that in Discord. We could do that and whenever. I'm happy to have a chat. But in terms of a stream, it needs to be a specific question or a specific topic where we're on opposite sides. And so for what this conversation at least started out being was that I am on the side of being okay talking about Christian values in service of essentially retiring Christianity. That I don't think that that calling the values Christian values hurts the goal of moving religion into mythology. And he was on the other side of that. And so what I was expecting was that he was going to come in and be like, well, this is why we shouldn't be saying Christian values and all that stuff. And so now that we're kind of stuck. Now I have to try to poke and prod and get him to see what is the problem with what I'm doing. Why is it a problem if I call them Christian values to other Christians? Is it so? Why does it give you that itch to use the phrase Christian values?
Because I prefer humanitarian values. I feel like that's more widespread and something that people know what you mean when you say it. Oftentimes, I would say that they're considering the same things. That if you're talking about like the best of Christian people, because we both know there's plenty of good Christian people. Like, no one's here saying everyone under a religious banner is bad or misguided or anything like that.
Absolutely.
But everyone can kind of.
You're all terrible. Just kidding. But right there, I could have even said like, okay, that's fine for you to prefer the term humanitarian values, but I wasn't talking specifically to you about those things. And so it's not about what you want. Like, yeah, I would prefer that you guys hear me talk all the time about how religious language furthers all of this stuff. And so there is a time and a place.
Relate to that. But especially going into, I guess, political discussions. When you refer to them as Christian values, I feel it is almost giving
Wait, test. You guys can hear me, right?
Christianity a leg up. And as you yourself have said, you're more so saying that when you're talking to Christians. Why?
Because we already agree on those values. And so when my goal is to get them to widen their perspective that, hey, even somebody who doesn't believe the things that you believe can also have these values, then we can talk about the Christian values instead of taking the time to go down, well, is this actually a Christian value? Or do you consider that a Christian value? And which is an interesting conversation I'm willing to have if somebody wants. Thank you, gentlemen. To have it. But again, when I'm going back to the idea of, hey, other people who are not Christians can behave this way and they can be on your team. And especially when there is, the liberal wokeness that to speak shortly. And that's the overall goal, is that, look, while I personally think that retiring religion, I like that. I just came up with that. I like that. I like the idea of retiring religion in general. That is what I want to do. But I think that retiring wokeness and the version of leftism that we have is a much bigger problem. It is a much more relevant thing. And that's why it's like, okay, you have to prioritize, because you can't fight every battle at the same time. So you have to figure out what is most prominent. And I don't think that Christians are the ones who are damaging American culture as much as the woke left is. And I mean, I say the woke left, that's kind of in flux right now. We'll have more better labels as as Trump gets in and stuff starts happening, and the groups and the cliques kind of redefine themselves. But for now, the post wokeness, all the stuff that the culture war stuff that we don't like, when all that is going on, then that's a more important conversation to people on this side of the aisle.
Maybe at any given moment, but eventually that.
And good one. The lunatics. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Costa, why don't you just become a Unitarian Universalist? They already did all the things you're wanting. Well, because if they already did all the things that I'm wanting, then Christianity wouldn't be as popular as it is. So clearly, they didn't do it. What is the alternative moral, secular moral structure that they have made popularized so much that leftism and Marxism and communism and all of these things are not reasonable, or not perceived as reasonable?
Maybe at any given moment, but eventually I feel like that moment changes as people change, and I feel by granting that.
Okay, they embrace all religions, and then how does that get rid of all religions? I don't know what that means. Jank versus Hassan, is that happening right now? What's good with that? I would definitely watch that. I was thinking of I hadn't looked too far, but I was thinking for tomorrow's show we would do something with Cash Patel since oh, it happened already. When did that happen? Okay, yeah, I'll check it out. If you drop a link in Discord, and I'll check it out. Because like I said, I was thinking of doing something with Cash Patel tomorrow, because I don't really know that much about him, but I know a lot of people that I know and respect are really excited about it. So I got to learn me some Cash Patel.
Change. And I feel by granting that Christian value, that banner and that homage, I feel it can kind of muddy things further down the road, because there's an assumption. Well, there's the assumption made that we all agree on what Christian values or humanitarian values are, and we don't.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. So how does not?
So how does saying liberal values or humanitarian values, how does that fix that issue?
It detracts it and separates it from dogma.
What? Say again?
It separates it from the what I believe to be a dogmatic belief, a religion. It separates those values and makes them stand on their own. And if the values are really worth anything, I would say that they don't need to be called Christian values to stand on their own. But if you consider them Christian values, now they are a part of this honor that you're upholding.
Why would I make that up? What are you talking about? Okay. Shout out to Carl's Frosted Tips. Welcome to the party. Oh, there's the treats. Of course, a treat for Morty. Thank you very, very much. And of course, every donation comes with a treat for Morty. Thank you, sir. And of course, that makes you the new co-sponsor of the stream. I'm really confused by this. Like, we had a whole conversation. I don't know. Are you like hung up on the debate word? Like, yeah, we were having a conversation, debate, whatever. But like, yes, he did ask for this. I don't know what you think is happening. Do you think I yanked him out of what he was doing and made him be on the like? How do you think this occurred if he didn't ask to debate me? What are you talking about? Anyway, Cause for Us a Tip said, I love Jesus. As someone who suffers with PTSD, my faith in God has helped me and saved me. I don't push it on others. I don't push it on others, but myself and my family. Save Morty. There we go. And yeah, that's that. I think that's the way that I would like for people to use it. And it's a way. It's a tool to figure out the things that we don't know how to figure out, and we don't have necessarily better answers in a structure like religion does. But the fact is, it's when you're pushing it on other people. And notice how we use the exact same thing when we talk about the transes. Thank you. Do not let me forget to update the banner. King said, did you ever see Dave Smith debate Jacob from Lost? No, I didn't. I would love, definitely post that one in free chat. I would love to see that. Did say, it's in the chat. I joked about having a debate about it that night. Then you said you were going to make content on it. He didn't ask for it all. Okay, fine. He agreed to it. Like he DM'd me asking to do it. Cause respect others' rights to worship or not worship. It's America. Like whatever you want. Agreed. And I personally like more secular things. Shout out to the Camcast. Welcome to the party. We are just doing a debate review of when Cybercore was on here, and we're talking about should we get over God. Welcome. All right, let's back this up a little bit.
Christian values to stand on their own, but if you concede views and makes them stand on their own.
So I was asking why. What is solved by saying humanitarian or liberal values instead of Christian values? He's saying it detaches it from the dogma.
And if the values are really worth anything, I would say that they don't need to be called Christian values to stand on their own. But if you consider them Christian values, now they are part of this honor that you're upholding. When you speak of those values, you are upholding Christianity with them.
Fair enough, but they are already upholding Christianity themselves. Like me saying Christian values to a Christian is not making them more Christian. It's just helping me to open up their mind to, hey, somebody who's not a Christian can have these values, and then organically, then when they become, well, I mean, Christian and other people who are on the right side of politics and in America, and well, that's how then the name of Christian values or the label Christian values just fades away. Instead of trying to say, no, they're not Christian values, like they are, that's not an argument that I can win.
Well, but I also don't think
Ken says, I wouldn't debate you personally. You'd run circles around me. I'm working up the confidence though. And, that is, like, depending on like what this conversation that I'm having with Cybercore, we got a little bit heated towards the end, but I mean, to Dave Padilla's point, it was never meant to be like a yelling debate. Like I kind of use that word loosely, but the idea is we want to have conversations. And so if we get to a place where you have ideas that are going to run head into ideas that I have, then the only place you're really in trouble is if you get defensive and you get your guard up. Because I've been in many conversations where people know more than me, or they prove me wrong, or whatever, and it's only a worrisome thing when you feel like you are when you feel like you're not wrong, but you can't articulate why. And so that's the big thing. If you're thinking about why you believe what it is you believe, if you have that core thing, I believe what I believe because this or this and this, then you go down those things. And even if you have 5 different things, this is why I believe X, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's not how that works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I believe X, right? So then if I knock down 1, 2, 3, and let's say I knock down 1 and 2, but you still got 3, 4, and 5, then okay, maybe you don't believe X as strongly, but okay, well, you've given me a lot to think about, but I still think it's when you get into a conversation and somebody knocks down 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then you're like, nuh-uh. That's where the confidence is, not to necessarily have all your answers correct, but to be able to realize, oh, that person got a point, so to speak, and that's okay. So I'm here ready for you, buddy, whenever you are. Hey, shout out to Unwanted Food. Welcome to the party with the $5. Bam, 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 bam. So where's the overlord? Well, you know how to find him. There he is. And of course, stepping on the mouse for the other computer. There we go. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Thank you so very much, guys. That's 3 out of 10. I already did an extra push-up yesterday for you, unwanted folks. So hopefully we will get there. We had a Black Friday sale, and I was doing them cheap. Thank you. Welcome to the party. King Ivana said it's a Palestinian debate. Gotcha. We're talking about Dave Smith and the guy from Lost. I thought it was interesting after I figured out who Dave was debating. He really wrecks the guy. I wish it had substance. Oh, well, now you ruined it. If there's no substance to it, I'm not going to waste my time. But I would be interested to see who that is. Is he like the Jacob guy? Is he somebody who is in this space, or I'd be curious. So this debate that we're covering here is should we get over God? Should we get over God? And again, the basic idea is that both he and I are atheists. And when I talk to Christians about how atheists and leftists can live with a moral structure, I will use the phrase Christian values to make the conversation go more smoothly. And he was basically saying that we shouldn't do that. Meaning that essentially agreeing with my position that we shouldn't be using religious language unless it's absolutely necessary. And I'm just saying, I think in that context, that is a good use of the language. So Carl said, I don't want and will not tolerate Muslim values in America. They don't want our values or to assimilate. They want their way or no way. Exactly. Yeah, bro, I don't care. Yeah, sure. I'm not I'm not trying to make it seem like, oh, he challenged me, bro. You notice, do you see how defensive you are? Cybercore and I had a conversation. Is that better? I'm not trying to do anything with that. I don't know why you're getting so fucking butthurt about this. Jesus Christ, dude. Take a Xanax. Oh, again, unwanted foe with another $5. Thank you so very, very much. Yeah, come on, bud. There we go. Thank you. And now, updating it with our new sole sponsor of the stream. Thank you. All right. Let me do that before I forget. I always be forgetting. Ain't fair. Thank you so very much. Unwanted Boat, sponsor of the stream. Boom. I feel like you guys wait until I change it and then send another one because I'm not good at math and I always forget. Thank you. Amp said, I'm not an atheist, but I kind of get what Circuit is saying. If values continuously get attributed to Christianity, then how can you disassociate them? So Christianity benefits from the perceived good. Agreed. And that is why the on a grand scale, there's not a what did you do here, Mark? On a grand scale, he is right, and I don't want to be using religious language where it's not necessary. I'm just, as you'll see, I'm making the argument that in the particular circumstance of making the overall argument that this can happen, then specifically fighting on whether the values are Christian or not is detrimental to the larger goal. So I agree with the sentiment. I'm saying this is a justifiable exception.
The Christian values will ever fade away. It's the religion that won.
There we go.
For now.
I was gonna say again,
but
as I've been saying, Islam is a problem. And trust me, liberal, conservative, Christian, or atheist, we are all gonna be on the same side when the Islamists are trying to kill us all and take over the world.
Yeah, but I feel like people 1,500 years ago were saying the same thing about Christianity. Like we gotta get these Christians in line, dude. They keep on they keep on doing this crusading stuff. Because
Right.
it really.
So there he says we got to get these Christians in lines because they're doing this crusading stuff. If that was the case, then I would completely agree. But no, Christians are not doing crusading stuff. If anything, the leftists are doing crusading stuff by chopping up minors. That is a bigger issue to me than anything Christians are doing.
It comes down to.
And again, this is a matter of picking your battles at the time that you can make them. You can't fight every battle at the same time. And so while I agree with both what his overall thing and what Ann was saying about if the values continuously get attributed to Christianity, then how can you disassociate them? That is absolutely true. It's just not as big of a problem as understanding that those values can exist out of Christianity in the first place. Once you know the Christians in general can understand that you can have a structure that looks like Christian values that's not Christian values, then you can disassociate that whole structure from Christianity instead of having to dissociate the values individually. Hey, shout out to Carl's Frosted Tips with a free chat for Morty. Trump won and God is good. Bam, 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 bam. Thank you very, very much. Oh, let me get you full screen. Yummy. Look how goddamn cute he is. Thank you so very, very much. All right, what else we got here? If you say it's never necessary to use Christian language, and again, I agree. I agree that it's not necessary. I just think it's more beneficial in the larger goal to not specifically have the argument about whether the values that we're talking about are Christian or not Christian every single time we talk about them. That is, and yeah, from a historical context as well. They are definitely they're not. I don't believe that they originated with Christianity, but they certainly historically are part of Christianity. Wonderful. So I disagree with this point right now from Cyber. Christians have calmed down a lot since the Crusades, whereas Islam hasn't really evolved or changed since 1,000 years ago. Exactly. So I mean, as it stands right now, we've got leftists, Muslims, and then Christians. Christians are a problem. Trust me, Christians are a problem. But well, we got the trans activists and we got the Islamists. Sure. Anna says, what about the when Planned Parenthoods were being burned down? Is that like absolutely? That is horrible. Like I don't think I'm totally against abortion, but I absolutely don't think that that's okay. But is that a common thing? Is that something that is pushed by Christian leadership? Is that something that other Christians see and are like, oh yeah? I don't really think so. Whereas when we see stuff, when we see property destroyed in the name of leftism, very different. Very, 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 very different. Carl, so the Crusades is historically misinterpreted. It was a response to Muslims taking over Europe and forcing Islam on Christians. If you're a critic, the Inquisition is a better example. I will duly noted. Thank you. And so by Christians, not a crusade, but they're not we finished this official one. Yeah. Agreed. They're not entitled to destroy property. And again, if we saw more, right, exactly. If I saw more of that today, you trust me, you'd be hearing about it. Cam says, when talking about foreign people moving to Canada, I fear to even comment. People can milk a student visa for a decade here. Yep, and it's scary. It's scary. The problem is so much. Regardless of how big they make it seem, it's even bigger than that. And indeed, we lost the Crusades. I agreed with you already. You are so defensive, dude. You are so You have problems. I specifically said, yes, I agree with you. And you're still arguing with yourself. You have problems, dude.
Because it really comes down to I feel the lenience to grant the title Christian values really does come from the popularity of Christianity. It rings to me as having to play ball with them. And
But you did.
where I think there's good intentions there, I think it can be misleading, and in a way on our part as atheists, I think it can be disingenuous and at worst manipulative.
Okay, so what if would it change? Would it solve the issue? I'm just doing this once. What did you say? It's not necessary. I said I agree. It's not necessary. I said it's beneficial. Beneficial and necessary are not the same thing. Of specifically using the phrase Christian values, would it solve it if I instead of saying Christian values, I said what you call Christian values? Would that clear it all up?
Maybe if you said what you call Christian values, what I call just humanitarian or egalitarian, depending on what you're talking about, you know.
Well, but again, I mean, that's not really the question, because I'm specifically asking if the point of saying Christian values is to truncate the whole discussion about which values we're talking about, where they come from, all of that stuff, and to just move on with talking about the values. Because again, there's not a misunderstanding between the Christian and myself and which values we're talking about. That is a colloquial understanding. And so when that is the case, if we're not specifically talking about if the conversation isn't where did these values come from, then saying, you know, what they say, what you call Christian values, but I don't, it doesn't matter what I call them. I'm just trying to get you to understand I'm referring to what you call Christian values. That's all that matters. That's all that I care about in this very moment. Do you understand that I'm talking about those values? Okay, I'm talking about those values. This is what I'm saying about those values. That's it. That's the conversation. If you want to have a conversation about whether they're Christian values or they're other, that's a different conversation. So that's why the question was not
humanitarian. You said what you call Christian values, what I call just humanitarian.
So again, the question stands. If I said instead of Christian values, I said what you call Christian values, and moved on, would that be okay? Would that solve it? I didn't. That's a yes or no question.
Or egality.
Hey, shout out to Ed's shout out to Ed's Funhouse. Welcome to the party. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you.
Values, what I call just humanitarian or egalitarian, depending on what you're talking about, you know. But I still think, like when you're talking about Christian values, if you were to be the honest atheist, you would also remind these people that these values did not originate with Christianity. And as I think I've said in the past, a lot of these values that I'm sure every viewer watching this like upholds and believes in, we actually hold due to many fights against Christianity and against the church. Things like autonomy, things as base as liberty, but also things like free speech. You know, you have the First Amendment.
If I did what I should be doing here, I would have asked him to specify, because he's kind of, well, he's this things and those things and those things. What things are we actually talking about? Well, and I mean, if we're getting into the political side of things, then if you're coming from
not really. I'm more so, I forget what a clause is called, but you know what I mean when I say First Amendment. You know where I'm going with that.
Yeah. Familiar with the First Amendment.
It's not so much about the politics. I mean, that's of course related politically, but it's more so the value of why we hold that stance that governments cannot do anything to acknowledge religious bodies or religious entities. I can't remember the exact wording, but it's the clause that people often confuse with church and state, which was more so mentioned in a Jefferson letter. But even in Jefferson's letter, he was referring to that clause.
And said, so if dissociating the values from Christianity, I'd assume that the expectations would be equally distributed. But not all Christian values are ones atheists would want to adopt. I mean, I don't speak for atheists. I speak for me. So dissociating the values from Christianity, I'd assume the expectation would be. What do you mean the expectation would be equally distributed? I don't know exactly what that means.
The
What's in the
exemption clause or establishment clause. Yes, the government shall not establish. Yes.
Yeah.
But when it comes to things like that, it's important to remember why that was in place.
Fine. I'll take the bait. No, I'm arguing for a justifiable exception, not a necessary one. Just because it's justifiable doesn't mean it's necessary. Words have meanings. You said it's not necessary. I said agree it's not necessary, but it's justifiable. So equally distributed across society, not just the religious. Yes. Okay. So yeah, we want them to be equally distributed. Well, so yeah, not all Christian values are the ones atheists want to adopt. That's the problem. That's exactly the problem. So that's why it's a smaller issue to separate the where the values are coming from, because the goal is actually having the values be equally distributed. Not everybody agree where the values came from. That's a very minute detail. Getting the values equally distributed is the goal. And so, yeah, if I'm willing to give ground to dogmatic people and say, yeah, call them Christian value, whatever you want, as long as the values get equally distributed, that's what I care about. I like that, equally distributed across society. Well said. Shout out to Ed's Funhouse with that boy at 99. Thank you. Said no religion is perfect. We all have flaws, but Islam sucks. I worked with a Muslim who hated more food, so I got more baconators. Well, I will say we should definitely remember to separate the religion from the believers. Let's not hate on Muslims. Let's hate on Islam. But that's still funny. Word up. Thank you, sir. And of course, we're halfway there. 5 more and we on the floor. Let's get swole. Thank you, sir.
When it comes to things like that, it's important to remember why that was in place, because people often just think about,
My God, you really don't understand the difference between necessary and reasonable? One thing can be, but doesn't have to be. The other does have to be. You really don't understand the difference between can be and has to be. A man necessarily is born with XY chromosome, but he doesn't have to have hair on his head. Whoa, that's not a fucking profound statement, dude.
Because people often just think about, keeping the church out of politics, but it was just as much about keeping politics out of the church. It was a fear of crossbreeding of corruption, and the people that were most afraid of this were the Christians.
Okay, and so I'm okay. Say more on that. I'm with you. And so how does that implicate what we're talking about?
Well, when it comes to things like, I'm not sure what your opinion is on making Christianity the national religion, but what are your thoughts on that?
Hell no. Nah.
Okay, well, we agree on that. I assumed we would. But yeah, I would feel inclined when talking to a Christian out of respect for them and out of wanting them to know exactly where I'm coming from, that I don't view those values as Christian, and that there may come a day, as much as maybe in this moment, it may be better for us to break the bread, extend grapevines. We all know that would.
Oh, I apologize. I thought you were being difficult. You really don't understand. Okay, so I agree with you that we never have to use religious language. I don't agree with you that there's never a case where we can be using religious language. Does that make sense? I agree that it's not just because something isn't necessary. It isn't necessary that I give my dog treats every time you guys give me a donation, but it is justifiable that I do. Does that make sense now? One of it is has to. I don't have to give Morty a treat, but I can. And so that's a justifiable reason to do so. That's the difference.
Break the bread, extend grapevines. We all know that would be there. I don't think there would be much longevity to that, because eventually we would be reminded why what we consider humanitarian values are not always Christian values.
Right, but don't you think that like that is kind of a little bit further down the road of the discussion of opening up the again? Because my position is slightly more of a political one than a religious one. My goal is a lot more, at least for now, about moving the Overton window back to where it was, 10, 20 years ago.
Or as Anne was saying, have it more equally distributed, having these values more equally distributed, so that it's not just people on the right who want families and don't want kids sexualized and stuff. Equally distributed. I love that, Anne. Thank you.
And I don't really care if people are, openly Christian and all that stuff. I think it's more detrimental to American culture for all this woke stuff. So I'm happy to work with Christians to get rid of that and hold hold Christianity to attack, so to speak, later.
Yeah. Hey, how hilarious would it be if I just didn't give him one? Just to prove the point. Just to prove the point. Just to prove the point. Just kidding. Thank you. Unwanted vote with another $5 super chat. So the Overlord has declared that him receiving treats for every super chat is indeed necessary. I mean, we can. People are confused, so we'll not make too many jokes about it. But get out. Well, that's why we get the super healthy stuff. This shit ain't cheap, bro. This shit ain't cheap. That's why that's why I spend the money. This shit ain't cheap. It ain't cheap. But only the best for Morty. Only the best for Morty. Freeze dried beef liver. Go look up a 9-pound bag of Pure Bites freeze dried beef liver treats, and then necessary indeed. Thank you. Let me do some math here. Where we at? We got oh yeah, that's you, right? Where we at? 15 now. Thank you so very, very much, sir. Out sponsoring yo goddamn
and hold Christianity to attack, so to speak, later.
Well, I would rather just them if we were to establish some kind of
thank you, sir,
kinship and partnership to battle the woke left. I feel the honest thing would be for us all to acknowledge that fight is coming. If we do that,
what do you mean?
I think any allyship that we have with any religious sect being people who,
I mean, he ain't gonna make it that long. So, let's let him live. Let him live. He ain't gonna be here for a long time. So let's give him a good time. You're saying atheists can use Christian language and that they should when it's justifiable. Yes, that is what I'm saying. No, not even should, but can. You can when it's justifiable. I'm not saying what anybody should or shouldn't say specifically, or at least in this context. Yeah, I'm saying atheists can use Christian language, and they can use it when it's justifiable if they want to, or if they feel that it helps with a different thing. Even though it's not necessary. Even though I could take the time and explain each individual value that I mean, it is more beneficial to the overall goal of spreading those values than to talk about how to spread the values and why they should be spread and how they could be spread than what the values are and where they came from.
With any religious sect being people who do not believe in their creeds, their assertions, their dogmas, and constantly have had to fight against them and know that eventually we will one day. I think the chances of us just eternally unifying on gender neutral bathrooms is not going to get us past the point when say they want to start burning witches again.
I mean, I agree, but thank you to Funk Master here. So we got to show Nick what a beast you're becoming, and we will definitely get there. And a treat for Morty. Thank you. Thank you, sir. And we will definitely get there. And a treat here. So we got to show Nick what a beast you're becoming, and we will definitely get there. And a treat for Morty. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I mean, I guess I don't disagree, but again, I feel like that is, we're way more in trouble of, having gender neutral bathrooms than the Crusades or something like that. I forget which example you used, but we're way more, we're way closer to having, this gender stuff be far more established in culture than we are from having religiously based violence. Wouldn't you agree?
I mean, does anybody disagree with that? Does anybody disagree that, like, what would be the alternative? No. Before, like, yeah, gender neutral bathrooms maybe, but they're gonna start burning witches first. I don't think so, dude. I don't think so. Shout out to Black Salami TV. Welcome to the party. So, what's your view on pineapple on pizza with Alfredo? So I've never had it with Alfredo, but Hawaiian pizza is amazing. There's a reason there's a name for it. And maybe caveat. I live in Jersey, so all pizza here is bomb. But yeah, Hawaiian pizza is relatively common, and you get pineapple and ham, and it is fire. The Alfredo sauce, I might do that on a different one. I don't know if I would do it with the pineapple, but I certainly would try it. I would certainly try it. But yeah, whoever acts like, oh my god, pineapple, that's so weird, that's so gross. Yeah, they're just doing it because that's an online thing. Like, people have either liked or not liked Hawaiian pizza forever. But I haven't had it in a minute. I actually just ordered pizza today. First time in a while. I was like, you know what? I'll order some pizza. I've been good with DoorDash, so I'm like, let's do it. Hey, we got Indie. What is good? Just kidding. It's Guam Tech. Good to see you. I hope y'all had a great Turkey Day. Papa Lutch was in the hospital, so it could have been better, but it was as good as could be. Thank you. Carl said, as a Italian American, no to pineapple. I just get plain because it's that good here. You don't need anything else. But I also, I can't eat a whole pie in one sitting, so I'll reheat it. And so I get light crust. So when I get it, it's kind of not as firm as I'd like it to be. I usually will just eat it, but you could throw it in the toaster for an extra, minute or two. But then over the next two days, then when I put it in the toaster, it's still perfect because I had them underdo it in the first place. Stoner food ingenuity is the way to go. Campus, I'm sure it has to be a gender neutral bathroom in the building in right now. Shout out to Canada. Yeah, how far behind am I? Okay. Yeah, pineapple and bacon. That'll work. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Alfredo, it's the creaminess. I don't know if that would go, because like sweet and savory works, but I don't know if sweet and creamy like that would work. The only thing I could think of in that realm would be like sweet potatoes with the marshmallows. I feel like it'd be similar to that. I don't know. Black Salami said, I also love pineapple on pizza and all sauces equally. Yeah, they got barbecue pizza here is big, but the other big one is chicken bacon ranch. Bruh. Next level. Bring the gay back. Said Hawaiian pizza is the best with olive oil base, prosciutto, caramelized onions, and a little red pepper flakes to balance out the flavors. The red sauce is meh. Not in Jersey, it ain't. Yeah, that hey, well, if you know, baby. If you know. Word up. All right, welcome, guys. Let's dive right
in
back.
Culture than we are the far more established in culture than we are from having religiously based violence. Wouldn't you agree?
No, I'm of a mind that a lot of what comes from the left that you're describing is religious.
Okay, but so you think, I just want to be sure that you're saying you think it's more likely that we're going to get religious violence.
No, what I'm saying
Because that was
is that those.
So I let's go back to this, because that's what I said. That was the question. I originally stated that I think that the trans woke stuff is more imminent than the religious stuff, and he said yes.
More established in culture, this gender stuff be far more established in culture than we are from having religiously based violence.
We're closer to having gender neutral bathrooms established in culture than we are from having religious based violence.
Well, wouldn't you agree?
No, I'm of a mind that a lot of what comes from the left.
So okay, and now you fair enough. I'm cutting him off. I'm cutting off his response here. But I asked a yes or no question of whether you think that gender neutral bathrooms are going to come first before religious violence, and you said no. So
no, I'm of a mind that a lot of what comes from the left that you're describing is religious.
So like, okay, now I understand. So he's saying he's turning it around to say that, well, the violence from wokeism is religious violence. But again, that's clearly not what we're talking about. And so I agree that leftism is a religion. And so if we're talking about religion, like, okay, yes, but that clearly has not been established yet in this conversation. And so what I'm asking about is leftist ideology versus religious or Christian ideology. That's the context that we're talking about here. And I agree, but again, the question was the question not clear? Was the question not clear that we're talking about trans stuff versus Christian stuff, which is coming first? I thought that was pretty clear. So when you say no, I think the left is a religion. Like, well, okay, yeah, but that doesn't address my question. Second one, I agree that an atheist can use Christian terms. We're arguing that atheists shouldn't. Agreed. I'm just saying this is the exception for me personally. Black Salami said, what religion do y'all think killed most people in its name? I would assume Christianity. I would assume Christianity just because of the time period, but I honestly, I don't know. I do not know. So, okay, that's what he's saying. So he's like, no, because the religious violence that so he's saying, no, the gender neutral bathrooms essentially count as religious violence. So you can't say that gender neutral bathrooms would come before religious violence. So what I should have said was, do you think that gender neutral bathrooms are going to be an issue before Christian based violence? I thought it was clear that that's what I meant, but
that a lot of what comes from the left that you're describing is religious.
Okay, but so you think, I just want to be sure that you're saying you think it's more likely that we're going to get religious violence.
No, what I'm saying.
Okay, but then why did you say, if he knew what I meant there? How did he cut me off and know that I was wrong in interpreting what he said as more Christian violence before I even said it, if he didn't purposely obfuscate in that moment? That seems a little shady.
That we're going to get religious violence.
No.
Because again, you just said that, well, when it comes from the left and all of that, it counts as religious. So if that's the claim you're taking, then you can't say, no, we're not going to get religious violence before that stuff, because that is religious violence.
What I'm saying is that those kinds of, I'm sorry. Well, those, a lot of things from the woke side.
Yeah, Black Salami said, guys, if you look back through history, we'll see that Mao, Stalin, Hitler, all of them atheists, and all of them have the highest KD, kill number, I don't know, in millions upon millions. Did any of them kill people in the name of atheism? Because guess what? All of them also wore shoes. All of them also brushed their teeth. All of them also had soldiers. All of them also shot guns. All of them also owned homes. So if they're not killing in the name of those things, then we're just talking about a coincidence. And again, what I'm looking to do is not turn everyone into atheists, full stop. Okay, but that's still secondary. Did he do what he did? He's fine with what he did because there's no God. But did he do what he did because there's no God? That's a different thing. And so again, if we're talking about killing, it's killing in the name of. So yeah, that's bad. I mean, I'm certainly not defending that, but we have to understand the causal relationship. If wearing shoes isn't a deterministic factor in doing what these guys did, then neither is atheism, because there's millions upon millions upon millions upon millions upon millions more atheists who killed 0 people. So it cannot be that being an atheist drives you to violence. Shout out to Brandon Murphy. Welcome to the party. Said some Christians that show arrogance and greed use their own religious status as their own excuse to cover up for their hypocrisy. I'd rather set up an example to help people more than seeking attention. Yeah, I think that's a better way to go. What is that supposed to say?
Side of the left comes from the homage of, I would rather have questions I don't have answers to than answers, or I would rather have questions I cannot answer than have answers I cannot question.
Yeah.
I think that's Carl Sagan.
Yeah.
And this kind of behavior of, I feel this way about XYZ, gender, race.
This is my favorite. Yes, Black Salami. Thank you so much for bringing this up. So he says atheists just make up their own right and wrong. You could say, you beat me to it. You could say Christians do too, but we are instructed by Jesus to be good and do only good. And so that's funny. That's funny. And so you made the argument for me that you could say Christians do too, but you have a basis. And so as long as there is a basis and nobody's asking you to give up your basis, how is it not a good thing to give those atheists a basis? That's the goal. That's the goal. Did you say atheism cannot drive someone to kill? No, that is not. No. Well, that's not what I said. Atheism cannot drive someone to kill. Yeah, I think I think I could stand on that. The only instance I could see where we would colloquially say atheism is the reason someone killed is because of the fact that they were religious and the anger from being lied to is what drove them to want to kill somebody. But I wouldn't say that's atheism. That's anger at being lied to. So what I said, that's not what I said before. What I said before is that the atheism was not the reason that they killed. They just happened to also be atheists. Just like wearing shoes is not the reason that they killed. They just happened to wear shoes. They just happened to own homes. They just happened to have soldiers. They just happened to, whatever. But yeah, I can say that atheism cannot drive someone to kill because there's no actionable value in atheism. It's just a rejection of a claim. So if you can give me a situation that breaks that, then I certainly would have to let that go. But I can't think of a situation where the notion of not believing in a god or gods is a reason that someone would kill. And I mean, I mean, if we're bringing in, no, I know I'm not challenging you. It's a good question. And so unless we're bringing in mental health, where again, just the idea of there not being a God drives people to be like, oh, well, since there's no God, then or therefore I should, end everybody. Would we say that's atheism, or would we say that's some sort of mental? I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that though. That's a good one. If someone is religious, and then they become an atheist, so in their mind, they were lied to. Whether the truth of the universe is irrelevant here, because we're talking about what's in this person's mind. So in their mind, religion is there. And the next moment, religion doesn't exist. And because of the fact that that religion doesn't exist, they then feel that they need to end everybody. That part, you need to end everybody, is not part of atheism. So yes, I stand on that. Atheism cannot drive somebody to kill any more than what's another? I have to think about it more. But that's you got the noggin moving. You got the noggin moving, and definitely every group has their bad apples. Cannot deny that. Hey, shout out to Sizemore. Welcome to the party. We are doing a debate review of when Circuit Board, aka Cybercore, was up on the channel with me, and we were talking about should we get over God, and specifically talking about the phrase Christian values. Should we refrain from using the phrase Christian values? Welcome.
Of I feel this way about XYZ, gender, race, sexuality, and you're not allowed to question this because if you do, you're a bad person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all that
that's
stuff.
Religious dogma to its core.
I agree. What is I make the connection for me. Maybe I'm too stupid.
So he was basically saying that we should never we shouldn't give an inch, we shouldn't give ground, and because I also am of the opinion that we shouldn't use religious language when we don't need to. And again, I know Dave Video is going to have a connection on the phrase "need to" there, but. I was making the argument that it is justifiably reasonable to say Christian values when I am talking to another Christian about spreading those values to other people. That there's a reasonable conversation to be had about whether or not they are in fact Christian values or not. But when I'm having that, when I want to move that conversation along with a Christian, instead of getting bogged down on the specifics of what values we're talking about, I'll just say Christian values so that we can talk about that. He's saying no, we shouldn't do that. And yeah, what Dave Video was saying that that even if it helps spread the secular values, you shouldn't use the phrase Christian values. Guamtag said maybe someone doesn't kill in the name of atheism, but they kill in the name of power. So just like a religion, it can be used to gain that power. It may not be the reason, but it can be a tool. Right. That's right. But then that's a misuse of the tool, and that responsibility lays on the person and not the tool. Just like a gun. Like a gun could kill people, right? But we don't, when somebody kills somebody, we don't blame the gun, aka the tool, we blame the person. I want to post that American values, they take the good parts from Christian values without the requirement of believing in some incorporeal entity, as well as some of the weird stuff tossed in there. So yeah, hopefully within, I don't know the time frame specifically, but hopefully shortly, the idea of having to even talk about Christian values is a lot less frequent, because I've done the work for people to understand that when I say Christian values, I'm talking about American values. And now when I say American values, people know what I mean. If I just start talking about American values and be like, well, wait, what do you mean about American values? If that's not the specific goal of the conversation, then derailing to, well, where are these values? Then as long as we know what we're talking about, hey, generally the right stuff, and generally not wokeism, not communism, not leftism, not trans stuff, like you know? And said, so curious, how many Christians align with communism? Anybody know? I sure don't, but I would love to know. Hey, shout out to Sarah Marie. Welcome to the party. Said mental disorder in some state or another. If even being stressed by pressure from such as being threatened is what drives a person to kill and justify it. There you go. Yeah. And so that is that we have to specifically take that and separate that from the notion of not believing in a God or gods. It's the feeling that I need to do this because, and there's nothing in atheism that can do that. Yeah, and that's what Cybercore was also arguing. But at no point have I, like, if I'm talking to somebody, at no point am I making them think that I am a Christian or that I have a greater respect for Christianity than I do, because I do have respect for Christianity to a certain level. And so I would agree if I was trying to make it seem like I if I felt differently about Christianity than I actually do. And I mean, maybe you guys can be the judge, but I don't think that's what's happening when I use that phrase. Hey, we got our boy Nick Luketti. Welcome to the party, buddy. Good to see ya. We are going over the debate with Cybercore from last week. Your return.
I agree. What I don't make the connection for me. Maybe I'm too stupid to see it.
Because you're saying, what are the chances that religious attacks are going to happen? But in a way, they are happening. They've just changed their coats.
Right.
And that implies to me that there's more so of a mindset.
Okay, but in a
that
very more
parallels to that.
Right. So he's going back now and saying, well, religious stuff is happening, but it's happening on the left with this, that, and that. Like, yes, I know that. But again, that's not what we're talking about. And that's not what we're talking about. Because you stopped me when I asked you if that's what you thought, because I was confused when I'm in this conversation. When I'm saying religious, I'm specifically talking Christian or at least Abrahamic religions. And so you stopped me. And I said, so you think religion? No. You knew that I was thinking Abrahamic religion, and only now are you articulating that you actually think, oh, both the leftism, that ideology can become a religion, which I agree with. That's not what we're talking about.
Their coats,
right,
and that implies to me that there's more so of a mindset.
Okay, but in a
that
very more
parallels to that kind of stuff that is deeply embedded in religion. And in our country, at least, we up until recently saw from the Christians.
Yeah, that's why I want Christianity to take its rightful place in mythology. That being said, again, I think maybe it's just a point of agree to disagree, but I think the idea that I'm trying not to be facetious.
Wow.
I'm having trouble making the connection. Like, because if we're saying what is more imminent of a threat, not which is worse.
That, and again, that was the question. Which is coming first? Violence from Christians or gender neutral bathrooms? That was the question on the table. And we went all down this road because, well, technically the religion. This is exactly the reason why it is justifiable to use the term Christian values. Because we're not talking about that. We're talking about which comes first. Well, technically, which is religious? Language has to be, yes, words have meanings, absolutely. And you have to be deliberate when you speak. And, I think everybody can be better at being more deliberate and concise with the words that they use. But we also have to have grace for other people and try to read the room. Amp said, while atheism itself may not cause negative intent, what is the likelihood of adopting an ideology that is harmful, like communism or fascism, so on and so forth, versus the likelihood of the religions? Well, right now, very, 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 very high, which is a huge problem because atheism is going to be there whether you like it or not. So this is why we need to distribute the values. This is exactly why, because it is, well, right now, it's way more likely that they go into an ideology like communism or fascism and all of those. And that's not good. That is exactly what I'm trying to say to Cybercore here. Is that while he and I agree that the religion, the Abrahamic religions are bad and belong in mythology, in history, in whatever, I am making the argument that more imminent than that is what he is now calling a different religious threat of leftism.
Connection. Like, because if we're saying what is more imminent of a threat, not which is worse of a threat, I would agree that gender neutral bathrooms are not nearly as bad as the Crusades. I agree with that. But what we're talking about is what is a more imminent threat. And again, we're just using gender neutral bathrooms as a catch-all for the things in society that we, meaning people who agree with this position, not necessarily we, everybody in America, don't want. And so we're using the idea that men can be women. That is an idea that we don't want in society. We also don't want a national religion where everybody has to be the same thing and you can't question that.
Yep, we definitely don't want that. Shout out to King Solowings. It doesn't matter to me. You'll be judged at the end. You may go to China. They aren't Abrahamic. Okay. Am said, but there's got to be statistics. I'm curious. I'm sure Christianity has leanings also, but I'm going to find out. Word up. And yes, for the third time, indeed, the Crusades were defensive. Lots of killing. So we'll go back to the Inquisition. Sizemore said, I think he's just saying the religious mode of thought is the threat, not the specific religion. And yes, now I'm understanding that. But again, we specifically were having the conversation over the phrase Christian values and whether, how that affected the goal of me creating a moral structure that is outside of Christianity. So again, the purpose of the conversation matters because you can't talk about everything all at the same time. Whether whether this is true is again a different conversation. You can only have one conversation at a time. Because you've been very graceful in this discussion. I don't feel like I was trying to be, like I wasn't treating him with kid gloves or anything. I think the more respectful you are in a conversation, the easier it is for your opponents to be respectful. And it's clear that even though we're having some misunderstandings, nobody's trying to like dunk on anybody. And so even though there was, like with the bringing up different things, I don't think he was bringing up different definitions of religious or different uses of religion. I don't think he was doing that to derail the conversation. I don't think that was in bad faith, but in hindsight, that was not the right conversation. So it would be different if I thought he was doing that because he knew he didn't have an answer. So let me just move the goalpost. That would be different. And that would not have given, that would not have gone as easily. But yeah, in here, there's nothing really that he's doing in bad faith or anything. We're just conversation. And so again, even if you're disagreeing with somebody, it's not about whether you guys think the same thing. It's how much respect you show to each other.
National religion where everybody has to be the same thing and you can't question that. But one of those is more imminent than the other.
Well, let's use an even more prominence.
Hold on. So I'll come back to this. Am is absolutely right. Am is absolutely right. I was worried about the what angle he was going to take with this because of the fact that I am very, very strong about not using religious language when we don't need to. And as Dave videos bring up before, again, we don't need to, but there's exceptions to the rule. And I think that this is a justifiable exception to the rule that you don't use religious language and you don't need to. He easily could have held me to that standard and have brought out a way to highlight that and show that if you really believe this, then you're going back on either way. But the length of time that you're an atheist, I've been an atheist for more than 10 years, so that doesn't matter. That has to do with how well you listen and how well you can articulate yourself. So he could have, if he could have, but he couldn't have, so he didn't. So it's not true. Because if he could have, he would have.
And I'll use such one that I believe Christians
We all
often.
know. We all know how. Oh, God damn it! We all know how soft the liberals are on me, right? So yeah, you're right. There was an argument there for him to make. He just didn't know to make it.
Fear, and I'll use such one that I believe Christians often fear, as well as aspects of which you and I do. But let's say Islam. Let's say that fear comes through. Islam sweeps the nation, and the way Christianity was, say, any time before the 60s to 90s era, Islam comes to that prominence.
Okay.
Would you then call those values Islamic values?
No,
in order to.
They're not though. Like they don't appear in Islam. That's.
Oh, you've read the Quran.
I mean, not cover to cover, but yeah, I'm pretty familiar with the idea that throwing gays off of roofs is not compassion.
Now there's burning witches. See, what happened with Christianity and what I think can happen with Islam
is the
Reformation. Is that once a religion does win a religious war, and it takes the cake, for lack of a better word, eventually with that power comes a release of tension and control, because they have control. And then over time, you see society kind of adjust and kind of move past certain archaic and primal ideals. So in the scenario where Islam takes over, that would certainly eventually happen. Eventually, they would become more moderate, and they would become, they would start to do exactly what Christianity did, and they would start to lose.
Like, I don't know why you're trying to do this. Like, I am also just winging it. Wait, you think I prepped for this? Like, okay, if you go for it. I don't know.
Certain things, they would start to not acknowledge certain aspects of the Bible or certain teachings of the Bible because they don't truly believe in it. And when it gets to that point, would you call them Islamic values to get Muslims on board if they relate those values as Muslim?
I mean, in that situation, yeah, why not? Why would I not want to open people's minds and have them less willing to kill other people just because I don't want to call a thing what they call it? So if we have a situation where a Muslim is saying, I'm going to kill everybody unless you accept Muslim values. And I say, well, I'm an atheist, but I actually believe in these values and those values. So I actually believe in Muslim values, and so does everybody here. So you don't have to kill us.
What are we doing? What are we doing? Why? Like, go fucking watch his channel then. What are you guys doing? You see me drinking the whole thing. What are we talking about? I don't understand why you guys are more. Whatever. Okay.
Obviously, I'm simplifying that and being a little bit tongue in cheek. But why would I not use whatever words there? I'm not the dogmatic one. I don't care what you call the values.
It's just it's ironic. It's ironic that you'd be like, you just yell, you get so triggered, so then when I have a conversation, he owned you. He could have owned you. He didn't. He definitely could have, but for whatever reason he didn't. But you suck because he could. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, he purposely came on and looked stupid.
That's the dogmatic part. Reason. And so they need to be Christian values or Islamic values or any of those things. That's irrelevant to me. I don't care what you call them.
I think what you call these things matters to an extent.
I agree.
And
I'm just saying in the context, but I agree. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter.
Again, this is not a heated debate. We are going easy on each other because we are respecting of each other. But see, this is the point. You act like you guys want calm debates, but then, you want the blood sport. You want the blood sport. I see through you.
I'm saying within the context of trying to convince people who are Christians that their values are available in people who are not Christians.
Yeah, unlike Guamtech,
is a worthy discussion. And if using the phrase Christian values to talk about the values that me and the Christian happen to agree on helps that conversation, I don't find that to be manipulative or untrue.
Well, again, you're talking about when specifically talking to a Christian,
mm-hmm.
or in the other example, when explicitly talking to a Muslim.
Yeah, a few steps behind on the conversation that we're not having, you fucking moron. I didn't understand what he was saying because he was having a different conversation. He didn't know how to stay on topic. So yes, I was a few steps behind on the conversation that he was having with somebody else. Oh no, he owned me.
Things from the example of Islam basically
You're
taking
not
over and becoming the number one religion.
Casually throwing things. Well, you know, he could have destroyed you if he wanted, but he just didn't. Like, don't act like you. That's nothing. Don't act like that's like something that like, oh, okay, maybe yeah. Like, no, you're just wrong because if he could, then he would, and he didn't. Because that's as fucking that's what neither of us went in to do. And it's frustrating that when you guys talk about, oh, well, you know, I wish we got better conversations, and I'm calm and I don't fucking start yelling, then you assume, oh, I'm getting owned. So clearly, okay,
That seems to be when the rule changes, when the dogma has power and can influence and potentially threaten. That seems to be when you label the values of that religion. And I just don't know how I feel about that. It feels disingenuous to me.
And I hear you, but so let's take what Nick is saying here. Nick said about 25 to 26% of non-religious individuals voted for Trump. It is time for Republicans to recognize that they have allies among atheists, as they may gain more support this way. This is the most important thing to me, to get Republicans, the Republican voters, the Republican politicians, and you know, just the Republican apparatus to understand exactly this: that the reliance on Christianity specifically is not necessary. That you can celebrate Christianity all you want, but in order to have the values that the Republican Party wants to put into law and culture, that religion is not necessary. So with that goal, using phrases that I might not use with you are useful, because I'm not talking about values that are not in Christianity and just calling them Christian values to wiggle in. I'm talking about, again, those specific values that I believe in, because of, you know, again, I was, as Am kind of brought up before, I was brought up in the Christian church. This country is very heavily influenced by Christianity, and so I do believe in a lot of those things. A lot of them I don't, because they don't make sense, but the ones that I do also show up in Christianity.
Sure. But it still stands to reason that those values show up in countless religions, and we only call them Christian values because Christianity is the prominent religion where we're from. And I hear where you're coming from. I was raised Pentecostal. I've got deep seated South religious roots in me. But it seems like I don't have to applaud Christianity, in the Christians that I know at least. I don't need.
Yeah, now moving the goalpost to as if I'm saying, no, you should be celebrating Christian. I never said that. Again, just fighting ghosts. All I said was that it's justifiable for me because I have a greater goal. All I've been trying to get out of him is, why is that not why is that not justifiable for me personally?
To label things under their religion or applaud their religion and pretend as if their religion came up with these values in order for them to see value in them. I usually need to use reason, because if you want a bad person to do a good thing, you use reason. But if you want a good person to do a bad thing,
Use dogma.
Use religion.
Yeah, I completely agree. But again, I think that maybe you are not taking into account the specific goal that I'm doing. Because again, I'm not disagreeing with any of these things, but focusing on those issues when I'm talking to a Republican person who is trying to make political changes in this country. And we're talking about what Nick said about how, you know, the Republican demographic is growing, and including people who are not religious. That, I think, is the most prevalent or most imminent thing to get to find a place for people who have values that also show up in Christianity, being against values that seem to go against Christianity, whether or not I'm a part of it. and get the values that I want, regardless.
12 minutes left on our goal, guys. Swole goal, 12 minutes. We are 4 teal super
Regardless of where they come from
away.
and what they're called, I care about the values existing in society. So I think maybe a big difference or a big sticking point here is that we have very different political perspectives. Because it doesn't seem like you necessarily have a value, or you don't place value in the Republican Party accepting atheists.
Absolutely. Like, again, this is another assumption. Why are you assuming that I don't think that he's a reasonable opponent? I don't know why you're like, you have such a like, I would love if you would just go based on the stuff. You make up so much shit about me. No,
that's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that people can't have the religion and worship and feel the way that they feel. But if you grace that by calling it Christian values, a big concern I would have would be other kinds of Christian values that will rear their ugly head under the use of that term. And I should have been focusing on that aspect of this a bit more.
Okay, so let's go down
but if you grant that these are Christian values simply to get people and say, look, I am on your side. You have an audience with us. You have atheists on your side because you believe in compassion. I believe in compassion, and those Christian values, I'm right there with you, buddy. And then 100 years down the line, people decide to start going after astrology chicks and people that at some point you would consider like witchcraft. Now we have to find a new argument because thou shalt not suffer a witch to live is a basically a tenet.
The assumption that I didn't think that he was a strong opponent. That assumption. No point. The entire dick riding. Did you say he was a tough opponent? I said it in the stream. I said it to him. I said it in the Discord. But yeah, no. You're just right about everything. Like, so generally, I've generally leaned Republican on most issues, though not all. The only aspect that has ever made me feel rejected by the right is the belief that you cannot be a Republican unless you are a Christian. Yep.
Mentioned in the Bible. And if it gets to the point that those kinds of ideas, and I'm just using that as an extreme example, you can apply anything to it, not eating fish, whatever, like go crazy. But those come back, then how do we argue against them? We would then have to say, well, we're not talking about those Christian values.
I think that I don't think it would play out that way. I think that you're framing it as if we talk to Christians and we say Christian values, and then boom, they're on our side. So now we don't have to say Christian values anymore. This is a gradual thing that you convince individual people at a time, and then just by knowing somebody who is an atheist, again from the Christian perspective, knowing somebody who is an atheist who lives by Christian values, that is going to be enough to then have the ability to spread to other people. And that's really the overall goal. And as that is happening, then we also simultaneously shape society in other ways, specifically because we are not a Christian nation. Then the Bible is not a driver of what our political goals are necessarily, specifically when we have the two sides. And it's the reliance on Christianity.
Right, but you're not the only person in the Republican Party, right? So Nick wasn't talking about you. As you said, it's his own internalization, but that's based on real experiences from other people
within the Republican Party, which keeps the Christian values so prominent. If the abortion is a perfect example of this. That it usually is religious people say no abortion.
It is for now.
And non-religious people are like, yeah, who cares? But when you can see that it's a little bit more nuanced than that, then
Nick says, no, that's not my internalization. That's what everyone's been saying to me over the last few years. It is your own internalization, but it's not based out of nowhere. But that's kind of what they mean. When they say, oh, that's just that they mean that like, oh, that's just in your head. That's what they mean. It's not in your head. Just because they are not the ones who did it doesn't mean that it's not a real thing. But they don't, like, this is our plight to bear, right? Shout out to Funk Master General with another $5. Thank you so much. Guys, we are 3 away, 3 more, and I'm on the floor. There you go. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Thank you so very, very much. Oh my goodness. And again, Funk Master. Congratulations to Funky. Thank you, Unwanted Foe. Let's go. Hello. There. You snuck my mic off? Of course you did. There you go. Thank you very, very much. 2 more, guys. 2 more. We are almost there. Let's do it. 2 more. Thank you very much appreciated. All right. We are getting close. So Black Salami said the founding fathers were mostly Christian too, and created the laws we have from the Bible. Well, they also specifically wanted a separation of church and state. And again, we can use the same argument we did with Mao and Stalin. The founding fathers were mostly people who wore shoes. They were mostly people who rode horses. They were mostly people who had children. Actually, I don't even know if that's true, but there's a difference between correlation and causation. Hey, oh my goodness, a Funk Master again with another 5. So I'm tearing up. What an occasion! Oh my goodness! Oh, thank you, guys. 1 more, and we're on the floor. 1 more, and we're on the floor. Thank you, sir, very, very much. I'm gonna have to do some math here. Quantek said it almost seems like he's arguing that people should be rational enough to understand you without using their language. Maybe that's the case, but it's easier to gain allies if you use their language. Exactly. Yeah, and that's exactly the point. That yes, it is. I don't necessarily agree that. Okay, so we got 5, 10, 15, 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay, so we got Unwanted Foe at 20 as our sponsor. Thank you, sir. And a big shout out to everybody. But yeah, I think Guamtech, you nailed it here. And I think this conversation could have gone a little bit better if because I tried to bring it to the political realm a little bit earlier, but I think if we had talked a little bit more about the goals of our different sides, where like we have different, and that's kind of where we were getting to in the video, that we have different goals, so politically, and so for him it doesn't make sense to want to make allies with Christians like that, whereas with me, because of exactly what Nick just said, of course it makes sense. Like that's essentially my team. Hey, let's see. He said, hit the floor. First, let's give Morty his treat, and it's Wall Stream time. I meant to download a song. Wait. Oh. Maybe give me 2 seconds. We could do this. All right, let's do that. And hold on. I'll make this cool. Hold on. Creator mix. We got this. Give me 2 seconds. Hold on. All right. We got some workout music. You guys can hear that, right? All right. It's the Wall Stream time. Okay. And 15. Go for that. Who's coming with me? Something to say, pay yourself. One, two, three, four. No. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Fuck you unwanted. Oh! Woo! That's how that is done. Look at that kind of music. Put a one in the chat if you paid yourself. There we go. There we go. All right, let me get my mouse. Hold on. I'm trying to do this down here. Shout out to the Swole Stream crew. Woo-wee. Definitely earned that pizza now. Definitely earned that pizza now. All right, where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Thank you again, Funk Master. Again, guys, do not let me forget to do the math. Let me get a drink. Let me get a drink. I hate you on with the vote. Oh man. I'm not sure if you're pushing me to be better, if you're just making me I don't know. Thank you. And again, shout out to anybody who they're not bumblebees, they're video game controllers. Even though I don't really play video games, but they're video game controllers. You guys would, you and all your games, you and all of that shit. Oh yeah, all the fucking games, dude. Oh, and he did 22. Oh my goodness. Shout out to King Nirvana with another $2. Thank you, sir. Said, any chance to see you in the after party after this? Well, I don't know. If the stream ends and there's people in the voice channel, I have a hard time saying no. So you let me know if you're there. There's definitely a chance. There's definitely a chance. Shout out to paying yourself. Said I was at work and got my 15. There you go. Very good. Hey, and shout out to Nick Lou Ketty with the $4.99. Thank you. Said for my overlord, Morty is king. Indeed he is. There we go. Boom. Ooh, black salami. Depending on what year, it may or it may not say under God. That has nothing to do with the founding fathers, because at first it did not say in God we trust on our money. That was added later. Has nothing to do with the founding of America. Anyway, thank you guys so very, very much. Let's see. We got 10, 15, Jesus Christ. 10, 15, 20, 25 from Funk, and 10, 15, 20, Funk Master General. We got a new sponsor of the stream. Thank you very, very much. Oh, you guys are awesome. Funk Master General. Thank you guys. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but on the vertical streams, there's no way I could do math like that. So I just put the name. But I appreciate you guys very, 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 very much. Woo! All right. Swole. Yep. And God was not part of the original Pledge of Allegiance. He was all added later. But yeah. All right, let's dive back in here. What were we talking about here?
No, abortion and non-religious people are like, yeah, who cares? But when you can see that it's a little bit more nuanced than that, then by being called an atheist, you're not lumped into one of these boxes, which again is what I'm saying is not necessarily an issue for you on your side of the political aisle, but is a very big issue for people like me and Nick. So can you?
Well, I'm not concerned with people just seeing me as an atheist. That calls to just a deeper issue with their ability to look, because I have no identity or label to atheism. So when you use the term Christian values, I guess what I'm saying by and I'm not saying like you say that and boom, they agree with us, because then you could just say, I believe in your Christian values, God's not real, and everything would be hunky dory. But it may not happen instantaneously. But when you say you don't, it wouldn't play out that way. Are you saying that by granting validation to that dogmatic belief, that those darker beliefs and those deeper tenets wouldn't come back?
Well, it just depends on what people live out and what people care about. And so if people are caring about this particular issue, then it will persist. If people care about making sure that tradition and ritual are a part of American culture, then that will persist even if Christianity fades away.
Yeah, the Jefferson Bible. That's one I haven't actually sat down and read. I would be interested to see how that plays out. I mean, I'm familiar with it, but I'd never sat down and read it. What, prove it that that I could be a stripper? Well, I mean, if the money's right, let's go. You show me, and I'll show you.
So it's not this seems to be like the other side of throwing out the
boys being boys. Black Song said, I don't know why you're so against it being a Christian nation. It started as that and continued using things like the Pledge of Allegiance to solidify their beliefs without the same with the money. The answer is right here. But that's what we're saying, is that these things were added later. If they were so important, then why weren't they foundational to the Pledge of Allegiance? Why weren't they foundational to the money? Why were they added later? That's the opposite of foundational.
The baby with the bathwater, and the Christians believe that, well, if you don't fully believe in everything, then you can't live the value.
They did it like under the under darkness or something. Obviously, they approved it, but you're saying it's you're talking about the foundation of the country. At the foundation of the country, and you're using the Pledge of Allegiance. And, well, not you, but well, now you are. But you're using the Pledge of Allegiance and what's on our money as justification of the foundation of the country being religious, when neither of those things had anything to do with religion at the foundation of the country. That's what we're saying.
The Christians believe that, well, if you don't fully believe in everything, then you can't live the values.
Then why
you're kind of saying the same thing? That, well, if you live the
you're the one who said it. I'm just going based on what y'all are saying. And again, you said, what's on our money? Well, it depends. At the foundation of our country, nothing about God.
Values, then you're going to believe in the thing.
What? That's happened historically.
What do you mean?
Like the example of if we allow a specific religion or mindset to creep in and take power, that the darker sides of that belief system will take root in our culture and possibly in our legislation. That's happened.
In what ways? So, like, let's go to some of
the
these
Crusades.
Well, but again, that's so far. We already discussed that. That's so far away from the worry of what can actually happen when we're talking about
So it says it says I could start another goal, but I mean, I don't know how long we'll be here, so we ain't gonna be on that long. But why do you ask?
Talking about what is actually going to happen. Let's get some of these. So
Black Slime is saying it's both foundational and built upon. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I would never argue that if somebody's to say this is a Christian nation, in the sense that most of the people either are Christians or follow, again, what we are referring to, what Christians refer to as Christian values, I would never argue with that. But to say that people came over here to make a religious nation, they specifically left England to get away from the religious prosecution. That is the foundation of this country. Getting away from religious prosecution, getting away from having a state that's based on a religion. That is the foundation of this country. Nick said, what the founding fathers found important was to make sure that there was not a country that you had to belong to a specific religion. They were escaping religious persecution in Europe. Exactly. And so, yes, foundationally, they happened to be Christian, just like they happened to wear shoes and happened to be in boats and happened to eat meat and all of this stuff. Yes, it's a meat-eating country, just like it's a Christian country. But they didn't sail here to make a country where this is the meat-eating country. So it depends on what you mean when you say it's a Christian nation.
Actually going to happen. Let's get to let's get some of these. So Am said, I think it's misleading or less convincing that two people who grew up with religion advertise morality can be had without it. Isn't that where yours derived from? So what convinced you? Just say that. Yeah, I think that is precisely why I'm okay with using the fact that they are Christian values. As Am says, we grew up in the church. Most people in this country grew up with some understanding of the church and what are specifically Christian values. And so rejecting the specific values that I don't agree with, like slavery and the ones throwing gay people off the roofs and burning witches, we don't do those things. But like, I think it's again very.
Here's a perfect example. This is the same thing that I'm talking about with Cybercore here. This is the exact same thing. Making the argument that the foundation of this country was about escaping religious persecution and not being a Christian nation is the argument. Whether they were deists or theists or Christians, that's not super relevant to the conversation. It's absolutely true, but I didn't need that to make my argument. And so that's the exact same thing that's happening here. I don't need to completely separate Christianity from the values that I live in order to say that there can be a secular moral structure. That's what that is exactly the point. So, and yes, you are absolutely correct. Founding fathers weren't Christian necessarily; they were mostly deists, Unitarian, Universalists. What's not true? Tell me, wouldn't atheist? Well, it's obviously not an atheistic country, and that's a false dichotomy. It's not either everybody is Christian or everybody is atheist. Obviously,
easy to see that the issues with whatever woke issue you want to pick, that is much more of a prevalent issue than witches being burned.
Well, I would say Christianity is not where I derived my best values and guidance of morality. I would actually say my values and morality improved when I left the church. But this is a premise you see all the time that.
Hey, shout out to Guantech. What is good? Welcome, Indie Film. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you.
Well, we get morality from Christianity. We don't. That isn't true. That's historically not true. Christianity isn't even the oldest religion, and there were good people before it existed. So again, it's this kind of ownership that Christianity holds to morality, and Christianity only holds that ownership of morality in this country because it is the religion that we embrace. If it were another religion, we would call it that kind of moral values. We would call it that belief set. If this happened to be an Islamic nation, but we still developed and advanced the way that we have,
we wouldn't. That's the point. If we were a religious nation, we wouldn't develop what we have. And Am also says, how do you know that you've only lived your life? You don't have a counterfactual to say that, oh, well, if I never grew up in Christianity, I would have lived this way. You can't say that.
Well, neither can anyone here.
Okay, but nobody is.
Well, that's a moot point.
How is it a moot point? You're the one saying that we don't need.
Let's see if anybody just caught the mistake I made.
Hold on. You're the one saying we don't need Christianity at all because without it, I still would have had the same morality. How do you know that?
How do you know we wouldn't?
Am said, I think I'm sick. Oh, man. Well, I hope you feel better. Am, let's give it a dilly to Am to feel better. Dilly dilly, and get well soon. Sending some Pepto-Bismol by messenger pigeon. There you go. There you go. Look at all that support. Yeah, and that's actually it's technically the way that I phrased it. I actually just made a huge mistake in what I said, because he was saying, how do you know that if we were an Islamic country that we wouldn't have advanced the same way? And I said we wouldn't have advanced the same way. And then I immediately switched over and told him that he can't know what would or wouldn't have happened because he doesn't have the counterfactual. So then he could, well, but you don't have the counterfactual that if we were an Islamic nation that we wouldn't have advanced. And I could say true, but the reason that we can look at Islamic countries and how they advance, and we can look at Christian countries and Western Christian countries and see how they advance, and we can have a much better tune. Maybe that's not even that strong of an argument, but nobody caught it. Nobody caught it. It was this. I think it was the same exact sentence
at all.
Because that's a moot point.
Oh well, if you've only lived in religious nation, we wouldn't.
This happened to be an Islamic nation, but we still developed and advanced the way that we have.
We wouldn't.
Same
That's
kind.
the point. If we were a religious nation, we wouldn't develop what we have.
So that is making a claim on the counterfactual that if we were an Islamic nation, we wouldn't have this, that, or whatever.
And Am also says, how do you know that you've only lived your life? You don't have a counterfactual to say that, oh well, if I never grew up in Christianity, I would have lived this way. You can't say that.
So it's just well, wait a minute. You just made the claim that I can't know what the country would be like because you don't have the counterfactual. So how can you say that it wouldn't be this way? And so again, there's a difference between saying it would be this way and it wouldn't be that way. So it's we don't need a counterfactual to say that if America was an Islamic nation, that people would not be able to flap their arms and fly. But to address that. That being said, exactly, Islam is the most oppressive culture in history. So it does make sense that we would not have the type of advancements. But again, Black Islami, we always want to remember, right? They are taught evil. They are taught evil, and there's no reason to believe that if you were not born into that life, that you also wouldn't be taught the same things and have the same ideas. So it's very important to remember not to demonize the people. Even, I mean, as much as not condoning what they do, but in terms of the core cause, it's the ideology. It's the ideology, and we can easily condemn Islam. Full stop. We can't say all Muslims are bad. We can say Islam is bad. Period. Damn, 4 times? Are you the? Oh yeah, right. Wait, I think you're the one who breaks my thing because you're not. Are you? Did you get the jab? Because remember, I was saying that it was just anecdotal, but everyone that I know who got the jab got COVID at least once, most twice, and everybody that I know that got the jab, or excuse me, everybody that I know that did not get the jab, all the purebloods I know never got COVID. So did you break my my anecdotal experience, or are you jabbed? That we can definitely demonize. Yeah, that we can demonize. Actions we can demonize, but people we don't know, them being a Muslim is not a justification to say, oh, they're a bad person. I mean, you can say whatever the fuck you want. I'm just saying, careful. No, oh no. So I can't say this anymore. Ugh. So now it has to be like, of all the, okay, because it's still a strong quasi anecdotal statistic. I don't know, I'll have to think about it. Shout out to Behave. Welcome to the party. It's impossible not to have people worshiping God. Maybe, but it is also impossible to not have people not worshiping God. So that's what I'm concerned about. The people who are not worshiping God, how do we make sure that they don't destroy our society? That is the goal. Oh, you too? Oh man, I thought I had a thing here. I guess not. Testing was not false positive. No one knows really had but if you're sick and you get a false positive, you're still sick. Behave said God put it in our hearts the knowledge of good and evil. Glumsex said, Blasphemy said not all Muslims, but the literal book and the whole religion tells them to hurt and kill and are bad. Yeah, so that's why the book and the ideology are bad. Because hey, if you're a bad Muslim and you happen to be Muslim but you don't really follow it, then probably you're not that bad of a person, right? Glumsex said I didn't get the gem, but only got it once. This has been like for most people. Wow. I ain't got nothing. Nerfing. All right, back it.
To say that, if I never one making the claim.
No, we wouldn't.
I'm not making that claim. You're the one making the claim. I don't know that. I'm not claiming to know that. You're the one claiming to know a thing. You're claiming to know that if you didn't have religion, or if you didn't have Christianity, that you specifically would be able to have the same morality that you have now. How do you know that the morality that you have now, that the Christianity wasn't a prerequisite, and that the way that you understand things now is only because you had that Christian upbringing?
Yeah, right. For real. I've been saying that the whole time, and nobody's like, wait, I've gotten COVID. Out here making me look dumb. Yep, that's why I didn't get it. I had the tests aren't accurate. They all say positive. Well, I mean, this is what this whole video that we're watching. That's how.
Because I'm speaking for myself and I'm me.
That doesn't answer the question. Because so again, the question is, how do you know that your moral structure that you have now isn't dependent on being a Christian first?
Because like I already stated, there have been plenty of good people who didn't throughout history who didn't come from Christian nations.
They're not you. So maybe they did.
You're asking me how I know for sure about my own moral compass. I'm agnostic towards my own existence and reality.
You presented a counterfactual. Now I'm asking you how you know that factual is correct.
Because I am speaking for myself. I'm not.
And I'm telling you genuinely, if you watch, it's not like a one sentence thing. That's why it's a 3-hour stream. This is why you don't understand or you make these huge assumptions. This is exactly what we're talking about. What do you mean? How is that a good question? We've been saying that all the things about the larger things and the leftism and the sharing value. Like, am I talking to myself here? You haven't been listening to anything that I've been talking about? Because not everything is black and white. They have good values in Christianity, which is why I use the term Christian values, even though the truth claims are wrong. He said, if there's no God, morals are irrelevant because there wouldn't be good or evil. Why be good if when you die, there's nothing? Because I want to live in a good world. And in order for that to happen, people have to behave well.
I'm not saying it's objectively correct. It's my experience.
Okay, so you can tell me. So you can tell me how your life would be if you spent the first 20 years of your life without any hair. You could tell me how your life would be different or the same as to how you live right now.
The statement that I made.
I know the statement you made. The question that I asked you: if you had no hair for the first 20 years of your life, could you say that your life would be exactly the same as it is now, or would you not be able to make the determination because you didn't have no hair from that time?
I'm answering. So when I say that my personal values, my moral guidance improved when I walked away from the church, when I lost the religion.
Let me stop, because if more than one person has this question, I apologize. So the question is, how can you condemn Christianity while also saying you agree with Christian values? I can condemn Christianity because the truth claims that are made are not correct, even though by the fact of those incorrect truth claims, people behave the right way that is beneficial to flourish in society, then the values are still beneficial, even if the truth claims are not. The fact that we can behave a certain way doesn't mean we have to believe certain things. It also doesn't mean that just because you believe certain things that you can't act a certain way. It also doesn't mean that just because you don't believe certain things, you can't act certain ways. So the point is, we don't need to have one belief system. We need to worry about the values that people enact and behave in their daily lives. So when I say I agree with Christian values, I don't agree with the Christianity of it. I agree with love, with compassion, with grace, with forgiveness, with tradition. I agree with all those things that appear in Christianity. The conversation we're having is whether those are whether you should frame it like that because of the fact that they are inherent to the religion, or if they are just values that also happen to appear in Christianity. So I apologize. Dave said, listen, I'm talking to you. This is Circuit Board. I'm talking to you. No one's making an assumption. We are asking for clarification. Apologies. That's why I stopped. I apologize. Went too hard on that one, and I apologize. Saying so, it's a good question because the idea seems contradictory and counterproductive. You're right. I apologize. And that's why I stopped to answer the question. I think that the ideas that exist within Christianity are not necessarily unique to Christianity, but if they are in Christianity and people are all ready to live those values based on the Christianity, then there's no need to get those people to get away from Christianity because they're already living the values. Again, I don't care if you believe in Christianity. I care if you behave as a good person. So if you behave as a good person because you believe in Christianity, cool. If you behave in if you behave as a good person because you don't believe in anything and you just want, like I just said, you want to just have a good society, you know, the only way to have a good society is to behave well and do all that, then great. But I don't like the fact that the values can exist anywhere. But the organization of Christianity, the ideology of Christianity, comes with a lot more dogmatic baggage. And that dogmatic baggage is not okay. So we need to take the good stuff and leave the bad stuff. And so to take the good stuff from the bad stuff, we have to, the people that are taking all of it, instead of saying, I want to reject all of that, because I don't want to reject all of that. There's just key pieces of that I want to reject. And so as Guantek was talking about before about making allies, then if people understand that even though I am an atheist, even though I believe that your religion, well, I'm not talking about it, but even though I believe your religion is silly, that doesn't mean that there aren't tenets of that religion that we want to distribute across society. So we want to have the ability to behave properly regardless of what you believe. That is how I can be in favor of the values that happen to be that happen to appear in Christianity while not accepting Christianity. There, my apologies. Let's move on.
When I walked away from the church, when I lost the religion, I am saying that based on people's interactions with me.
So what I'm asking for specifics is when using your tactic of speaking to people with their language, how will you condemn it to them? Like, how would that combo go? What do you? I'm not. What do you mean? Just exactly what I just said. Like, if you believe in Christianity, then that's great. But I don't believe in those things, and you, as the Christian, need to be okay with me and other people not believing in the same doctrine of Christianity, as long as we are behaving in the way that we all agree is acceptable. So, like, not killing, even though I don't believe in God, you, the Christian, not you, but you, the Christian, you have to be okay with the fact that I don't believe in God, as long as I'm okay with murder being legal, and going down the list. Because we already know that there's more and more and more and more people walking away from religion. So to the religious person, ideally, they want everybody to follow their religion, but that's not real. That's not a thing that can happen. So the second best thing is the people that follow their religion, and the people that don't follow their religion still behave almost as if they follow their religion. Is that? I think that's what you're asking for. Behave said to behave. To behave, there must be law. Why would there be law if God did not exist? It would contradict atheist beliefs of no good or bad. Oh, there's a lot to unpack here. So yeah, so your law is being used in a very narrow, a weird way here. So there has to be, I would say there'd be principle over law, but I think that's kind of what you mean. So yes, there has to be a principle. There has to be a reason why you would behave better or worse. And you're saying that can't exist because atheists believe that no good or bad exists. That is not a thing. Some atheists may believe no God exists. Some atheists may have dogs. Some atheists like cats. Some atheists have blue hair. Some atheists wear red. The only thing that all atheists have in common is that when you ask them, which God or gods do you believe in? They say none. That is the only thing all atheists have in common. That is the only thing that all atheists have in common, is that when you ask them, which God or gods do you believe in? They say none. There is not one other thing that all atheists have in common, or most atheists have in common, or is a part of atheism. That's it. That's the whole kit and caboodle. Do you believe in a God or gods? No. That's all of atheism. There's no belief about good or bad in there. There's no belief about the universe in there. You're smuggling all that in. And a lot of atheists do have beliefs about other stuff like that. Just like a number of atheists have risen to power and murdered millions and millions of people. But that has nothing to do with whether or not they believe in a God or not. That has to do with what their principles are. And so again, the idea is clearly that when a plurality of the country is atheistic and they're not going around murdering everybody, clearly it is possible. Clearly it is possible. And so again, we have the idea of morality. If morality is not the objective discussion of behavior that moves us from the greatest well-being for all people to the greatest suffering for all people, that can be an objective standard now. If we have that objective standard, then you don't need anything outside of that to understand, oh, is this going to go this way or is this going to go that way? If we're not talking about the greatest well-being for all people versus the greatest suffering for all people, then I don't know what you mean when you say good or bad. Black Slime said, do you believe in a creator? No, I don't believe in a creator, but that doesn't mean I can't be convinced. Carl said, time is what proves the fruits of a religion. You can start a secular religion with Christian ethics, but it would take hundreds of thousands of years to prove. How will you know? Maybe I never will. That's the idea of planting a tree under the shade, which you will never experience. But isn't your ultimate goal to get them out of thinking dogmatically? Yeah. Yeah. And so if I can get in with you a little bit and then move you, now you're with me and we move over a little bit, then you're less dogmatic. But I would say, actually, no, I don't think that's my ultimate goal. No, that's not my ultimate goal. I mean, that would be amazing, but no, I take that back. That's not my ultimate goal. My ultimate goal is for people to be able to coexist. So if you think dogmatically, like I think that's wrong, but I'm not going to think dogmatically. And as long as we can coexist, and you don't hate me for not thinking dogmatically, and I don't hate you for thinking dogmatically, then as long as the behavior is there, it's about the behavior. He said you can't have it both ways. If God is a lie, either good and evil is real, and we have laws, or there isn't. Why is that the case? Why can't there be good and evil without God? And again, if we're we're talking about the objectivity of moving closer to the well-being of old people or suffering of old people, all people. You're telling me that spectrum can't exist without God. Please explain. And so, hold on. If the tenets are core beliefs or values, and those are what atheists, if the tenets are core beliefs or values, and those are what atheists wants, if those are what atheists want, again, this is not an atheist thing. This is a Lutch thing. I'm not speaking for other atheists. This is not a thing that atheists are. This is me. This has nothing to do with other people. Other atheists don't give a shit about this. The perceived good will uphold the religion. Yeah, temporarily. That's the point. Is to show that, hey, yeah, I'm an atheist, but I've got some of the stuff that you think is good. They already think it's good. So you uphold that those things are good, and then see that they exist outside of Christianity. So if there is good outside of Christianity, that's the goal, is show people there is good outside of Christianity. Shout out to Mighty Sarlacc. Welcome to the party. Some atheists believe in objective morality. It's called moral naturalism. Indeed. Welcome to the party. Yeah, again, I get what he's saying though, but just like the secular way of being, a secular ideology. It takes time to know a religion works, and you already asked that. Nick said, it's crazy to think that without God, there's no good or evil. At the same time, you believe what is good or evil can be changed simply by God changing his mind. Yep. So if God decided that assaulting little children was good now, then you would believe that that's good. And I'm the one who doesn't have any laws. Okay. Lex Tommy said, I genuinely believe in a creator because of how our existence is to begin with. This is, guys, please, with some commas or something. I genuinely believe in a creator because of how our existence is to be. Nope. I can't do this, guys. Yeah, you gotta. If I can't read it, I can't read it. We can't stop the whole show.
Me. The experience that I've had in
that one,
just
gravity,
making things better, not really. It's a lot of personal things, but
okay. So
what I'm describing.
So the like, there's a lot in the Bible that Christians don't necessarily follow, and so that is a big thing that I'm counting on. A lot of people, there's a lot that people don't follow in the Bible. So I'm not too worried about that.
If the response to that is, how do you know? I can't really answer that. But
no,
right, because you don't.
No. So there's the sun. The sun, we are in the orbit of the sun, not other planets. The other planets aren't strong enough or close enough to have a gravitational pull on the Earth. The sun is a lot larger and therefore has a much larger gravitational pull.
I can't really answer that, but
right, because you don't know. So again, then you can't make claims of things that you don't know.
Okay, well, we've always been a predominantly Christian, like as far as religion held by individual people, we've always predominantly been Christian. So how would people know that it wouldn't improve without Christianity?
We don't. That's why I'm doing exactly what I'm doing. That is precisely my goal, is to see if it is possible that we could be better without Christianity ever being part of the equation. We don't know that. It might very well be that Christianity is the absolute best that we could do. I'm not just stick with me. I'm testing that. A lot of people believe that, and I am testing that that claim that Christianity is the best that we can do. I don't think that it is the best that we can do, but I can't prove that yet. So I have to go through and do the work, and then I can say, here's how I know that Christianity is not the best.
Again, I would say good luck.
I mean, support the channel. Hey, what are we doing? But so okay. This is so Anne said, what if you grew up a Satanist? What if you grew up as missionaries with no structure or consistency? How? But yeah, okay.
Black Slumber, just because we're not going to go through a whole astronomy lesson in the middle of this, but just because things are surprise, this is called an argument for personal incredulity. Just because you can't fathom it or you don't understand it doesn't mean it's God.
It's kind of the all right. Let's move on. That's the. I think we kind of agreed on that one. So before you were talking about how saying Christian values and admitting that they are Christian, or not admitting, but giving credence to the fact that they are Christian values kind of gives Christianity a leg up, and that it could that could lead to what Dan is talking about, other values rearing their ugly head. Can you expand on that?
What do you mean? I'm ignoring
yes.
it. I just brought it up and addressed it. I'm not ignoring it. I specifically said it's an argument for personal incredulity. Just because you don't understand things doesn't mean that you can just plug in the answer that you want.
At everyone's own risk, I'll explain what I mean. Christianity, just speaking point blank of my own opinion, Christianity is a belief that you were created.
I think that we can get to a place where people won't care. We can get to a place where people won't care. I think there's a lot of people who are. I mean, you're a believer and you're here, so there's ground to be made. And so the more that happens, the further dug in people are obviously going to be harder to get to. But there's a spectrum of how strongly people stick to this stuff. And so as Carl was saying, it takes time.
In sin and in flaw, and then you are commanded to be better. It is the belief that there will be a final day of judgment where some of us are allowed to party in paradise with the Lord, and the rest of us can go to hell. None of us have to ask the question of people finding faith and the status of faith, giving people kind of an entitlement to moral grandstanding.
I'm not, Carlos asking if I'm worrying about Jonestown. No, I'm not specifically worried about Jonestown because of the lack of dogmatic belief that I'm pushing. What I am pushing is that you don't need any type of structure, or not that you don't need any type of structure. You don't need any type of dogmatic reliance on a structure. You can follow the structure because you see that it works. You don't have to have any belief in it. And so, having some afterlife like that, I can't recall all the exact specifics of what the Jonestown people believe. But I think that would kind of go in the opposite direction. Like if I was trying to create a cult, then yeah, that might happen. But I'm trying to decultify everything. So I think the fact that we can even think and make words is spectacular, and sure, we can try to explain it because we need it over time. But this existence is crazy. I agree, but the point is that just questioning it and being like, "Whoa, isn't it crazy?" doesn't and not being able to have an answer doesn't point to a creator. It doesn't point to anything. It's just, "Whoa, it's crazy. I don't know." That's the point that I'm making, is that I agree with you. It is crazy. I agree with you. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. But that's why I'm not willing to say it's this or it points this way, because it doesn't. I just don't get it.
Anyone who's gone to church has known those people. Some of us have them as family. But when you come down to ideas like "thou shalt not kill unless the Lord commands you to kill his enemy," a Lord that does not speak to us, so we have to leave the Lord's will up to the interpretation of men. What could possibly go wrong? But we have countless historical examples of what can go wrong, what has gone wrong, the number of people killed, the number of wars waged, the genocides committed, and people killed for everything from their sexuality, their cultural choices, even down to believing that they're a witch. Yeah, those are the ugly values I'm
I agree
referring
with
to.
I agree with all of that, but then the question then moves to, okay, how do you fix that? How do you solve that if you're not just dictating another dogma or structure onto someone?
Reason.
Okay, and how do you do that?
You reason to people. You
But,
you, you tell them we
but they're
don't.
already
We
but they're already
don't.
dogmatic. They're by definition not willing to listen to reason because of the dogma. That's what dogma is.
Well, the dogma is simply that there are certain tenets of their belief that they are not expected to question and that they must accept on the face of it. And all it takes is
Right.
someone telling you do not have to do that.
But they won't believe you because they already believe in what they believe in. That's the point.
So how would you do it?
By doing what I'm doing and showing them that even if I have to compromise and that I don't necessarily think that the values that I live by originated with Christianity, if they do, then okay, I don't fucking care where you think these values came from. I will use phrases like Christian values to get into the conversation of what actually matters instead of the title of the values.
And more specifically, not use the phrase Christian values without a different caveat at some point to make it clear that I'm not being deceptive and saying that I'm basically a Christian.
And look what we got. We're almost there. We're all on the road to 5K. Not quite, but we're almost 5,000 people here. Most of them Christian, saying yes, I agree with what you say. I like that you're saying it. Would like you to say more of it. That's how you convince people.
I mean, if you're having to package your beliefs to be accepted, that means some part of you knows that your beliefs would not be accepted.
I'm
I
very aware
think
that my
packaging
beliefs would not be
them.
expected. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because of the fact that I know my beliefs, or my positions rather, are better, and they are not going to be accepted. So I have to convince people. They think the wrong thing. I think the right thing. Yep. I already have the right answer. It's just a matter of convincing them that I'm right.
Would you say then that the answer is convincing Christians that secular values are Christian values?
No, I would say that it's more about convincing Christians that Christian value, what they call Christian values, are not exclusive to Christianity.
How would you do that? By calling them Christian values?
Because just because I said they were Christian values a year ago doesn't mean I can't then, now that they're listening, have a deeper conversation about, well, actually, you have this value from the Bible, but it actually shows up in this philosophy or that religion or that, and that's what I meant before when you're acting like it's an on-off switch, where I call them Christian values, and or maybe not an on-off switch, but like a stuck in it's stuck in that forever. I can call something a Christian value.
I'm not saying forever. What I specifically said was that you would have a fight on your hands later.
You're gonna what later?
So you would have a fight on your hands later.
Yeah.
That was specifically what I said. That if you call them Christian values.
So I want to keep this part about having a fight on your hands later is a good part, and then I just want to skip to where some other people join the panel, because I think we got pretty much what both of us think.
Use, and then you get them to. We're not even get them to accept those values, because it's determined by referring to those Christian values that they would relate to, that they already agree with them. So if you call them Christian values in that moment, then down the line, when you start explaining to them, okay, let's talk about why I really don't think it's a good idea to say the Lord's Prayer at school, or have the 10 Commandments up in school. Now you have to ditch the label of Christian values anyway, so why use them in the first place?
One, no, you don't. And two, who do you think is going to be better at convincing somebody who is a Christian who wants the 10 Commandments up in their school? Who's going to be better at convincing them that that's not appropriate? Somebody who is willing to talk to them about their ideas and accept that they believe certain things that you don't, or somebody who is just not willing to accept anything that they say?
I'm not saying I'm not willing to accept anything that they say.
I wasn't talking about you. Whoopsie.
So let's go where Am said, this is where I think the disconnect is. Circuit is accounting for not attributing values to Christians. My questions earlier are relevant because you are hoping Christians wouldn't take the scriptures serious. I don't think that's I don't think that's true. I'm not hoping. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So certain kind of values. So I think we're just talking on it's a matter of the timeline. So there's I mean, trust me guys, I'm winging all of this, but there's going to have to be like phases or different periods of time where it's like we have to do things in steps. Like we can't just jump to the end. And if I'm bringing people along on a journey, it has to happen in such a way where I have to explain certain modes of thinking, certain concepts that I have, certain things until those are understood, so that I can build onto those ideas. So I'm not at this point in time. I'm not worried about and what you brought up before. I didn't start, but the thing about not binding with non-believers or something that specifically I don't think is too much of an issue. I don't think most Christians really believe that they shouldn't be talking to non-Christians. I don't think that's a wildly held belief. But just in general, in terms of not taking the scripture serious, I think the goal is to first show that, like, if somebody has the belief that being a Christian is the only way to be a good person, then I can show I'm not a Christian, but I'm almost similar to what you think that, or what you want people in society to be. Once that's established, now that's already established. Now the Christian already sees that there is the possibility that somebody is not a Christian and also falls in line with their values and behaviors and all that stuff. Once that happens, then it becomes a matter of, well, do you actually need the dogma, or are you just following it because you like it, because you grew up with it, because these different things. So I think the first step is to show that secular morality is possible, and then there's another step of once that is demonstrated, then to make a more pointed argument about individuals and whether they need their particular dogma. So and again, I don't have this all worked out. It's not I don't necessarily have all of the answers. I'm just trying to do what I can and spread my ideas the best I can. So I don't have all the answers, but that's the goal. Last time I said, I think I've been healed after being crippled in an accident, and I had damage to my neck and spine and couldn't work anymore. Wow, that sounds intense. I'm sorry I went through that. Hey, said everyone has a belief. If they don't have God, they will make man God. We're engraved to worship and follow the right path. God is the lawmaker, and screw up things they play. Glomtech said, apologies in advance for slightly derailing the combo on stream. I think I did a better job in the after party, but I feel like I flubbed here quite a bit. Well, this is the reason that we have these conversations, is that you can't necessarily and exactly what, because I absolutely am thinking about tomorrow, but I have to think about today while it's today. I can only, like I said, you can't have every argument at the same time. It's something I'm not thinking about tomorrow. It's just that I don't have it all figured out yet. Just because I don't have it all figured out doesn't mean that I haven't thought about it. It's relevant because the Bible talks all about false prophets and deceivers. Yeah, and so if I demonstrate that I'm not that, then I think people would be open to it. And again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe none of this is going to work. Next, no matter how improbable our existence is, it doesn't matter because it happened. That doesn't make God more or less likely. It's a false premise to equate the complexity with the creator. Nature is complex. Yep. Have those steps you were talking about worked on anyone in your audience? Yeah. There's a bunch of people who definitely were like, I was not willing to, listen to anybody who was an atheist, but show me that, not all atheists are these crazy leftists. So absolutely. These arguments to a Christian mean nothing because faith exists and will always be the reason for lack of evidence, according to non-believers. for me, I'd be mapping back from the end goal. Okay, well, if you know how to do that, let me know.
Well,
oh,
yeah.
The Freudian slip. I never said you. I just said someone. I'm saying, so again, if we're making the comparison of somebody who is willing to talk about Christian values and say that the wokeness is bad and we need to fix our culture and all those kinds of things, but is an atheist and doesn't believe in God, or just another atheist, which one of those do you think is going to be, on average, better at being able to convince a Christian of something that is, or convince a Christian that having the 10 Commandments up in school is not appropriate?
What do you mean by an atheist that doesn't believe in God versus just another atheist? Was that a Freudian slip?
No, I didn't say I said doesn't believe in God, but that's only half the sentence. I don't believe in an atheist who doesn't believe in God, but talks about these Christian values, lives these values, all these things, as opposed to an atheist who just doesn't believe in God and doesn't live by the values.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But, and again, like Black Slimy, I appreciate the question, the way that you're questioning things, but it seems like once you question it and you don't have an answer, then you just revert back to God. I mean, sure, I don't necessarily think God would be able to be put in a test tube, but is God a something that is a testable reality? To be able to say it is or is not, what information do you have that you could say that? That's the only thing. I'm not saying yes, it definitely could. I'm just saying, how do you know it can't?
All right, let's do a poll. I think most people here are Christians, right? Who would you be more willing to listen to?
This was meant to be a little bit facetious, but again, just to hear the question, because we'll skip to the end here.
Commandments up in school. Now you have to ditch
no,
in
you
the first
don't.
place.
One, no, you don't. And two, who do you think is going to be better at convincing somebody who is a Christian who wants the 10 Commandments up in their school? Who's going to be better at convincing them that that's not appropriate? Somebody who is willing to talk to them about their ideas and accept that they believe certain things that you don't, or somebody who is just not willing to accept anything that they say?
I'm not saying I'm not willing to accept anything that they say.
That was the question there was meant to show it that, like, look, if you want to convince people that you can't just say, I have all the right answers, you're wrong about everything, listen to me because I have the right answers, and that's it. And so if there's going to be somebody who convinces a Christian that the 10 Commandments don't belong in a classroom, then it's more likely that it's going to be somebody who is willing to hear them out and willing to have an understanding that they that they care about the 10 Commandments, and that instead of, oh, that's stupid, God is dumb, and that's all I was trying to do. And then that got derailed. But we are almost at the 3 hour mark. So let's jump to the panel.
To the party, and we also got our boy Guam Tag. Look at that. All right, let's make this pretty.
What up?
Can you hear me?
Let's dive in what we got. I wouldn't say it's like reverting back to God. I'd say it's like God just seems like the only answer, and if not God, then just a creator or a creative. But even in this comment, though, that's exactly my point. So it's either God, or it's a creator, or it's this, or it's that, or it's so why are we saying that it must be this or 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 something? That's essentially saying it's something that we don't know. I don't think we could ever test and prove. Why not? Well, how do you know what kind of technology we'll have in 1,000 years? That's my point.
So let's go to Day Video. Yes, we can hear you. How are you doing? And what would you like to add to this conversation?
I think it would do a lot better for you to get them to accept you and accepting them, because you keep going back to threatening examples of the Crusades or farther examples when if
That was
you
That was him. That was not me.
I understand, but there's a more realistic example, because if you start, giving them the justification to use Christian values, then they'll start treating you as them. They'll start acting like, oh, he's just basically a Christian, because you're giving them everything that they need to be one of them.
Right.
And you're not convincing them that you are an atheist and that you are what you are, but you're then gonna have to try and do that later, which will be much more difficult, and they won't
See, I think that again, a big misunderstanding here is that, like, I do actually believe in those values. Like, they're more liberal, and I'm not. So it's not a false. I'm not representing anything that I don't actually represent. I understand if you're more liberal, why you would take these positions, but the values that the average Christian has, as long as they just live that way, I'm okay with them believing whatever they want.
Except you, because like, oh, you're changing.
This is the argument
when you're like, no, I haven't been changing.
This is the argument that he made before. Why would it be harder? Again, we did the poll. We did the poll of who people were really willing to listen to. So why are you saying it would be harder if I make inroads? It would be harder, according to the Christians in the chat.
The way to make inroads.
Hold on. We gotta be Discord. We could be a little bit more, whatever. You gotta let me know the show. So the specific point is that making inroads will make it easier to convince these people of what I think. Specifically, not having the inroads is what prevents me from being able to talk to them. Why are you guys both saying that making those inroads will make it more difficult?
Because what I'm saying is that the way I would make an inroad isn't a militant atheist way. The way I would do it is to be who I am, say I'm an atheist, and I'm the stereotype you think an atheist is. And if I was you,
but I'm not the stereotype. That's the point. I'm not that person. Why would I pretend to? This is exactly what I'm saying. You're saying, oh, just be who you are. I am being who I am. That's the point.
I wouldn't necessarily do this because I don't agree with their values necessarily, right? But if I did, then what I would do is be like, I'm an atheist and I agree with that value, and I agree with that one and that one, that one, yet I'm an atheist. And they would say, oh, I know an atheist and he's actually a good guy. He actually believes in these Christian values. He's not a Satanist. Atheists are cool, and they will accept you.
Yep, that's how it's been going. That's how it's been going.
You don't have to accept them, because if you accept them, you justify them and taking that narrative and using it on things like slavery, or using it on things that you don't like banning pornography in Kentucky.
And I would just add, if in both scenarios, when it comes to that change and when it comes to convincing people of those final values, like their final boss, for lack of a better word, in our realm, their final boss is reason. When you get to that point with them, you're having to argue against God. No matter how many grapevines
you're going in. How does that change anything? You keep saying that. How does that change by me saying no? I'm an atheist and I hate Christianity. And
because you aren't getting them to accept atheists. You're getting.
How does that make it easier? The question is, how does that make it easier? You're saying what I'm doing is making.
That's a perfect example of that's not against my values. That's not against my values. If a state wants to do that, then go for it.
How does that make it easier? The question is, how does that make it easier? You're saying what I'm doing is making it more difficult. And if I were to just go full bore, that it would be easier. How is what I'm doing making it more difficult? I agree that at some point you eventually have to come up against the reasonality of God, or whatever way you want to put it. I get the final ball. I'm with you there. That is going to happen either way. So I can again either make the inroads or not make the inroads.
But when you make the inroads, they're going to think of you as one of them.
I don't care.
Well,
I don't care. And again, the other thing you said is, but then they think you accept them. Guess what, bro? I do accept them. I don't need Christians to change anything about their lives.
But they accept you as them. They don't accept you as an atheist.
Except the fact that I'm an atheist. That is the only thing, and that I
right. But they don't think of you as one.
But what does that really matter, though? Like, what exactly is the harm in a Christian actually thinking that an atheist is on their side?
It's not about them thinking that they're on their side. That would be a good thing. Them thinking that you are basically a Christian.
Yeah, something will be against my values. And then I say I'm against that. That's the beauty of having a platform, that you can talk these things out.
Christian.
So what is the harm there,
He
though?
thinks
Yeah,
he's
why
an
does that-
atheist, but he
We're
believes in all
not
these Christian
Christians.
values. He's basically, yeah, exactly. You're not Christian. So when it comes time for you to be like, actually, I'm an atheist, they're still not going to. They're not going to accept you. They're going to call.
Okay, put
they're
a one
gonna
in the
say you're
chat if you don't.
changing.
Put a one in the chat if you believe that I don't actually that I'm not actually an atheist.
So, but
I mean, we
I'm
know what
still
the
trying
general
to-
audience is going to agree with.
I'm
It
still
matters.
trying
It
to-
matters because what people believe influence legislation and culture. It does matter.
Right. It's
Right.
it's the conversation
So,
that they then have
again-
with other people. Like I said, what you're doing is they're going to go to other people and they're going to.
This seems like if I was Christian, I would be a little bit offended at this. I feel like that two on the bottom are saying Christians are not going to be able to understand somebody who lives, what they see as a good life and doesn't believe in God. I think most Christians could figure that out. Maybe if they don't necessarily understand, oh, it's because this, but they can accept. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the average Christian can accept and understand that there are people who don't believe what they believe and still behave in ways that they want them to behave. I could be wrong.
Say, oh, I know this atheist who's basically a Christian. When my method is, oh, I know this. I know this this atheist who's actually really cool and actually believes in these things, and atheists aren't bad, and they will be more open to talking to other atheists, and those atheists will learn, oh, hey, Christians aren't that bad, and blah blah blah. That's the exchange that makes.
How is that not what I'm doing? How is that not exactly what I'm doing? Behave said, I know you're not a Christian and not saved. I love you and hope it changes, but I respect your free will. Why, thank you. Am said, if they view you as one of them and they find out you do drugs, for example, then you'll become the wolf in sheep's clothing. Are you saying that, or are you? Are you wondering? Like, I know a lot of Christians who do drugs. This is what I mean. Like, why would be so the Christians that I do drugs with and know that I'm an atheist? Huh? Yeah, there's plenty of them. And yes, again, I am definitely standing up for Christians. Christians are good people. They have a stupid ideology, but mostly they are good people. Thank you. King said, you made your point very clear then and now today. Why is it so controversial? I don't know. Carl said, from what I understand, your definition of atheism is flawed. Atheists believe there is no God. You'd be agnostic, I think. Nope. Again, agnosticism is knowledge, and theism is a belief in a god or gods. A is a prefix that means without. Gnostic means without knowledge. Theism means without a god or god. So I do not know and I do not believe. Therefore, I am an agnostic atheist. I do not know and I do not believe. There are Gnostic theists who believe that they know that there is no God. But still, they have. Okay, yeah, because I mean, do you mind? Oh, good.
Some of us believe in gods, some in reincarnation, and some are unsure, or believe it's the end of the road once we find ourselves 6 feet under. No one really knows for sure, but the quest to understand the truth and whether there is life after death has been a goal of humanity far before the first history books were written. How are some of our belief and non-belief systems alike? That's what we'll be attempting to find out in today's episode of The Infographic Show.
I'm not even going to waste time doing this. So let's do this. What does agnostic mean? A person who believes that nothing is known or can be known, or a person who claims neither faith or disbelief in God. A person who disbelieves or lacks the belief in God or gods. So again, not the claim that there are no gods, the lack of the belief or being unconvinced. So I don't know what you Googled.
Atheist. Atheist.
But if you Google atheist, then you get exactly what I just said.
So much more sense.
So hold on.
The
Let me get this
exchange
right.
of
Are you saying that it's
atheists being
better?
the minority
I
being
kind of feel like that is
accepted?
exactly
I just lived it for 20 years, bro.
what I'm doing. But so,
It's better
it's
to
not.
be like a militant atheist going to a Christian
Again,
than it is to be someone who
hold
is
on,
yeah,
actually
no
open to
militant
it.
atheist.
hey, whoa, 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 whoa,
No,
whoa, 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 whoa!
look,
No. One at a time. Go ahead, one.
Is it okay to be a militant atheist?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like, dude. Like it seems like you were implying that Christians are incapable of understanding that. Why would it be the case that and I mean I'm right there with Ann. Like, why would it be? Can you explain this drug thing, or are you just throwing that away? Like, it's the same point. Are we saying that I'm presenting myself as a Christian who doesn't do drugs and talking to them, and then like, guess what? I actually do drugs. Like, oh no, what? Does drugs? I thought he was a pious Christian, God-fearing man. What are you guys talking about? There we go. Black Salami, am I still okay with you, or am I a wolf in sheep's clothing? Or have I never, ever presented myself as somebody who believes in God or doesn't do drugs? Like I said, we're also leading the idea that in order to get Christians to trust you, you don't even have to point out the truth to them. It can be a simple comparison. Oh, the Bible says that? Well, that's the same concept in secular philosophy. It's just called this. Indeed. Thank you. Carl said, atheists believes God are man-made constructs. That's what I meant. Not trying to troll you. So again, there's not anything that all atheists believe except for the fact that they are not convinced that a God exists. So are there atheists that believe this? Sure. Am I one of them? Possibly. It depends on exactly what you mean. But that's not the same thing as the fact of what you were saying, that my definition of atheism is flawed. We brought it up. I agree, Amb. I agree.
I'm just trying to make sure that I'm getting this right. You're saying that it's better to have a militant atheist or somebody who is so just in the realm of atheism to go to a Christian and have a conversation with them than somebody who is an atheist who would have a respect for Christian values and actually like understands how that benefits him. That would be a better conversation. I'm trying to figure out which one you think is better.
It wouldn't. You're assuming we would be on the side of an atheism that is militant, and that's not what we're saying. And it's also kind of an unfair trap to conflate it to.
So again, now we get into the and of course by the stats, atheists do less, but there's really I don't know. I think that has to do with the number of people that claim to be atheists versus those who are non-believers. But yeah, the point is that it doesn't make belief in God isn't what makes a person moral. But so here we get into a period where me and Guamtech are we believe different things, but we're trying to get to a point, and it keeps coming back to, well, that's not what I'm saying. Okay, well, what is it that you're saying?
Militant. Like, no one's going to agree with a militant atheist, just like no one's going to agree with a militant Christian.
Fair. So that's not what you're saying. So what is it that you are saying? That's what I think we're both confused about. So maybe if you could just top to bottom, this is the way it should be.
I think an allyship built on lies is built on a very shaky foundation.
Agreed. Which lies have I told?
That you believe the values are Christian. In the scenario
I do believe
that you are talking
That's not a lie.
to a Christian,
I do believe in those values.
But
but you don't believe they're Christian.
Isn't an
believe they're
allyship
Christian.
also built off of being able
Then
to
why would
understand
you
and
hold on?
respect each other?
I'm sorry. Let me finish.
I'll come
If
back
you
to
do believe they are Christian, why would your
They're
goal
not uniquely
eventually?
Christian. They're not uniquely Christian.
No, why would your goal eventually be to get them to stop calling them Christian values?
Because of all of the other Christian stuff that I don't agree with.
Exactly. If you give them what they need to justify you being Christian, you are validating them.
That's what it seems like, B. That's what it seems like.
And they can use the justification that you're giving them to other atheists to then do things that you don't want them to
So
do.
nothing in Christianity has any validation. Just throw the entire thing in the garbage.
No. But
That's
you
not what we're
are,
saying.
Why would I not validate the
you are
parts that are
validating.
Again, I just want to point out the question was, okay, what do you think is the way it should be? And we haven't gotten. We are still on. It shouldn't be this. It shouldn't be that.
entire thing in the garbage.
No. But
That's
you
not what we're
are,
saying.
Why would I not validate the
you are
parts that
validating.
should
You
be
are
validated?
you are trying to get atheists to accept them. You should be getting them to accept atheists. This is the difference we're talking about.
I think that's a difference without a distinction. I think any way
isn't.
to get people to I don't think it's an either or. I think that the understand like I don't think anybody here is confused that I do not believe that God exists. I don't think
Before I move on, yes, they're not mutually exclusive. I want Christians to accept atheists, and I want atheists to accept Christians, so that we can all live in harmony.
anybody here is confused. So I don't think when anybody talks about the Indian Jesus, they're confused as to whether or not he is an atheist.
We're not talking about people here. They're your audience. We understand that.
Right. So who the fuck else are we talking about then? I'm not talking to people who I'm not talking to.
Christians.
King said, answer, what is their position to get the change they want? Or is it they just disagree with you only? I'm not really sure. I mean, I think at least one of them is here. But yeah, it all started on using the phrase Christian values. And I don't really think I got a good answer as to well, okay, so I got the answer of that it gives them a leg up, and then it'll make it harder later on, which I disagree with, but is a point. But now again, we're saying we're trying to Guamsek and I are trying to figure out what it is that they are saying, and it seems like they're just saying not what you're saying. I'm like, okay, you can disagree with me, but what does that mean? Quite the hostile way to say Christian there, Cybercore. I missed it.
They're your audience. We understand that.
Right. So who the fuck else are we talking about then? I'm not talking to people who I'm not talking to.
Christians.
So I can't control what Christians think if I'm not talking to them.
Carl said, if atheists have such a broad base of disagreements between sectors, does that negate your criticism of Christianity that they don't agree on everything? No, because Christians have a fucking book. They have a fucking rule book. You have a fucking rule book and you can't agree? We just out here fucking freeballing it. Not the same thing. You'll eventually disagree with one of their values. How will you then separate yourself from that? By telling them, hey, I don't agree with that. And here's why. You know, when you were saying use reason, I will use reason. But, you know, I can't use reason. They won't listen to reason if they're not willing to accept me. I still don't think I sound like a trans woman. I agree.
I can only control. I mean, even if I'm talking.
You've never been in a cab ride and talked to the cab driver?
No, I don't like talking to cab drivers.
Okay, well, that's what we're talking about.
Okay, and so no, I don't do that. I have a YouTube show. If you want to spend your time convincing people of what you think by going through cabs and doing that, I implore you. I will support that.
So that's and again, like I think that, you know, there's a level of facetiousness on both sides here, but talking to cab drivers is a better way to get my message out than doing this. Is that the claim?
I'm convincing people of what you think by going through cabs and doing that. I implore you. I will support that. But that's not what I do. What I do is this, and it seems to be working pretty goddamn well.
I mean,
is it not? Do we not have an overwhelming majority of Christians listening to an atheist talk about how Christian values are good, and then eventually learning that maybe the fact that an atheist is saying this, maybe I am now convinced that the atheist isn't this hedonistic asshole that I thought.
Right. David says, so they already treat you as a Christian. It'll be a lot more work for you to change their mind on that value. Right, but I will be able to do it. I will be able to do it because I'm already in with them. That's the point. If you have to make inroads first, you can't convince people of something, then they hate you. Or at least if they think that you hate them. It'll be much easier for us because we got through the weeds before that combo. And hey, man, if you're leading some kind of charge, I'm not gonna of getting secular morality to be popular. I'm not gonna knock you down. I'm all for it. I'll be like, okay, fuck, they were right, I was wrong. Let's go. Let's do this. But you haven't made the argument that would make me think that this is wrong. I don't know. This is the only one I've tried.
You think they're listening to you because of your opinions on Christianity or because of your opinions on Trump?
Why does that matter? Why does that matter?
What are you convincing them of?
What?
That despite the fact that I
mean,
don't believe in their God, that I still share values with them, and that is a possible thing.
But
that's
they know you're an atheist, so you're essentially. But what you're doing to your audience is what?
No. See, this is what you guys do. You throw a question like, "Oh, I'm going to get you," and then I have a perfect answer for your question, and then just move on as if I didn't just give you a perfect answer to the question that you thought was a gotcha. Can we just acknowledge that you thought that you had something there and you didn't?
No.
Yeah, because this is exactly the type of mindset that I think is a lot more popular, that and will become a lot more popular. That like, okay, well, these labels are labels, but more and more and more and more and more, you're going to see atheists who are good people and people who are claiming to be Christians, especially with this recent uptick, who are not very not acting in a very Christian-like manner, and so the lines become blurred. And so this is where we're moving. This is the direction we're moving. You said I listen to both and all topics on this line. I'm a Christian forever. There you go. Nobody. Well, I'm not. I don't want to say nobody's stopping you, but I'm not trying to stop you.
Acknowledge that you thought that you had something there and you didn't.
No.
Has something where?
Do I think you're arguing? I don't know. I honestly don't know. It sounds like no. Not really. It sounds like you're just saying don't do that. But the other things that you've said, be yourself. It seems like you're saying don't do that, except do all the things that you're doing. So that's why I'm confused.
For example.
You just thought you had a gotcha question, and then I answered your question, and then you just move the fuck on as if I didn't answer the question.
Nobody asked you a gotcha.
Okay, then what was the point of the question that you just asked?
Which
I don't even remember the question.
What are you trying to convince them of?
I mean, it's not about trying to convince. It's about maintaining. To me, it's about maintaining an honest landscape, an honest intellectual landscape. I think before all other things, and it's the difference is you will arrive. I feel like you'll arrive at the conversation, and they find out.
So what do you mean it's worked for you? How has your honesty? And I'm not saying it hasn't. I'm asking how it has, because you're telling me it has worked for you. What is it? Or no, honestly, it would be it. So what worked? Because you're saying to me, this sounds like I already got the secular moral structure to be accepted. That's what that sounds like. I don't think that's what you're saying, but that's what it sounds like. Because that's the goal for me. So if you're saying it worked, the implication is that, again, I'm not being dishonest about anything. So I don't know what you're saying. What have I been dishonest about?
You're an atheist once you're in the party and you're already, like you said, in with the other sheep. I would rather be the kind of atheist that they know is coming. I feel like that's more honest.
Nobody's telling you not to be that atheist. Did I ever say don't be that atheist? Go fucking be that atheist.
Right, but and also hasn't
I'm not
shown over and over that
I'm not saying that you're
people
saying I can't be.
Hold on. No. If I have to treat you like children, I will. Guamtech was speaking, and that means that you don't speak. Go ahead.
Okay, and again, so here we go. My goal is not to convert people away from Christianity. That's not my goal. I would rather have way more Christians and people not acting the fool than them leave religion. This is what you don't understand. You're assuming that my goal is to get people away from religion entirely. That's not my goal. If that is a consequence later down the road, then great. But as I stated earlier in this stream to you, that is not my goal. They found out I was an atheist. They thought I was a hysteria when I wasn't and was myself. When I wasn't and was myself. I don't know what that means. They thought I was a hysteria when I wasn't and was myself. I had my end. That's why we're arguing. That's what we're arguing for. So exactly. So once again, if my goal was your goal, then perhaps your mode of behavior would be the right one. But we have different goals, sir. We have different goals. So you achieving your goal and saying I should do what you did to achieve your goal does not help me achieve my goal. Solipsism. Once again, it's not about what you're doing. My channel is not about what you're doing. My channel is about what I'm doing. So if I was trying to convince people not to be a religious as a primary goal, then you'd be absolutely right. But that's not what I'm doing. No, when you asked, I said yes, and then I was like, actually, no, that's not my goal. I said, hopefully, eventually it does, but that's not the primary goal. Yes, I am focused on today. I've thought about tomorrow. I don't have all the plans for the rest of my life. No, but yes, on this very day, I am focused on what I can do today. If you think that's there's a better way to do what I'm doing to achieve my goal, then that's relevant information to me. But I don't have the goal of taking religion away from people. That's not what I want to do. That's not what I'm trying to do. I think that will happen organically as people understand that they don't need it. But my goal is not for them to I mean, if that's where it starts. That's where it starts. You make friends, and then you can talk to people, and then you can say, okay, well, you're an atheist, but I'm a Christian, so sure, yeah. If they don't know me, then yes, the goal today is to make them my friend. Sure. No, you're not wrong, King. You're not wrong. I'm saying exactly the same thing. They said, even if hypothetically everyone was an atheist, there would still be divided views. Man is imperfect, indeed. And that exactly is exactly why making everyone atheist is not my goal. Having everyone accept the divide, or maybe not accept, but be mature enough about acknowledging the fact that we are divided to be able to deal with that divide. I don't need everybody to have the same opinions as me. I just need everybody to be able to get along and not kill each other. I don't care if you're an atheist.
Isn't that just weird though? Because like historically, it's shown that people who come to the table and are constantly throwing their differences down right in front of each other all the time leads to the most conflict. And allyship should be built.
Exactly. There you go. Nick is. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to speak, but it seems like Nick is in the same realm where Nick isn't concerned about making sure people don't believe in God. Nick's more concerned about people getting along with each other. And I think that if people get along with each other, then the clinging to religion will organically be less because people cling to religion when things aren't going so well.
Off of your common ground, so that way you could have somewhere to start and then work out the fucking differences as you go. I don't understand why being able to like go into a conversation and yeah, you're being honest. Oh, great. Good for you. You're being honest, but it's not getting anything done.
Okay.
Getting
Can I
that
respond?
common ground.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
Real quick. Is everybody who's on the screen going to be in the after part? Like, if we're all just going to be there, we may as well just go and have the conversation instead of watch the conversation before we have the conversation. Like, are the three of you in here and planning to be in the after party? Well, yeah. I mean, it's going to be impossible for everybody to get along. We can get along better than we get along today. The heart of this disagreement may be that we don't think people deconverting will come naturally. It will exist as long as people fear death. Maybe, but again, I'm okay with that. That's a secondary thing. If it happens not to fall into mythology where I think both of us believe it rightly belongs, then that's okay with me, as long as the main goal of everyone, the groups, not there's always going to be the individual disagreement. But I mean, the idea that Christians and atheists don't hate each other, that the left and the right don't hate each other, that that men and women don't hate each other. That is the goal. That is my goal. It doesn't have to be your goal. What about you guys? I mean, like, if we're kind of stopping the conversation to have the conversation, we can just go have the conversation. So let me know. Yeah, we got that one. Like Salami said, amen. But my Christianity is for all who want to be good, even if you refuse to believe in God. The culture of Christianity has proven successful. There you go. All right. Well, we'll stick around until lefty boys. Let me know.
Josh.
Okay. I would love to end these conversations on why can't we all just get along and accept each other.
I said shit. Me too.
Unfortunately, that is not how the real world works. Unfortunately, people with different belief systems.
Not yet. But I've only just begun.
Do want to control legislation. They do want to control lives. They do want to make changes in personal lives.
Yes.
So I think throwing up your hands and saying, well, it doesn't really matter. Who really cares? It matters when most of the fucking wars that are start because of these disagreements.
Who was saying nobody cares?
That's actually what I was just saying. I was saying that we need to be able to start somewhere with common ground so that we don't just start another fucking war.
Yeah, it seems like
We
you
have
guys
to-
are the ones who are saying we should just throw our hands up and they either accept that
No.
we're atheists and this is the way it is, or nothing. So
How am I saying we throw our hands?
That's what it sounds like. I'm saying I can't wait for us to get to a place where we're constantly comparing our ideas and not competing with them. Correct. You don't just slap each other on the back at the end and say, I'll get you one day. Yeah. What is your name on what's your name on Discord, Black Salami? Or are you Brisk Iced Tea? Let me know. It's just a thing. It's just a thing I gotta do. So let me know what your name is, and I'll give you the permissions. Yeah, okay, I'll do that right now.
So when I say I'm the atheist, they see. Oh God, how am I throwing my hands up when I say I'm the atheist that you see coming? How is that me throwing my hands up and saying who cares?
Because you're basically admitting you don't care if anything gets done with it. You just care that you're honest about being an atheist.
No,
You're good, Black Salami.
we are
No,
getting things done with
you're.
it.
And I sing King Nirvana in the after party already. So if you guys want to go chat while you're watching, I do just ask that you keep the tab open. YouTube keeps track of that stuff. But the room is open.
You're just saying I said that and pretending like I said that.
Okay,
I didn't say that.
is what you're saying.
What the fuck?
Because seriously, if you go to the problem just being honest about the fact that you're an atheist and that's all that matters to you, then
No.
why would anybody
Again,
want to listen?
I'm not saying that's all that matters to me. You
So
are
you keep
saying
saying-
that's all that matters to me.
you keep
Again, now we're at this doesn't matter to me. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what it is. So what is it? What are you saying? What are you saying? What is it say the thing?
saying that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. So then what are you saying? Because every time we try to read it, every time we try to answer what you're saying, you switch it and move. So maybe we're retarded. Maybe we are the two dumbest people ever to
I
live.
am probably
Please treat
retarded.
us like we are 5 years old.
I know I am.
And
Okay.
explain
When I
this is so
say,
stupid.
oh Jesus, when I say it is better for me to be honest, I feel that's me. I would rather greet that table with who I really am. If you want to say that means I'm a militant atheist and that I want to throw my hands up and say I don't care, I've got no clue how you got there, but go for it. I don't care. I'm still going to be who I am.
Oh my God, he actually said it. He actually said it.
Got there, but go for it.
Ready? You know, I don't know how you got to I don't care.
I don't care.
No, I'm being a dick there. I'm being a dick, but it is kind of funny.
Care. I've got no clue how you got there, but go for it. I don't care. I'm still going to be who I am.
You are
Okay, so-
still coming to them with common ground, but you're going to them as who you are, and you're presenting them with the same common ground that you would, as you're saying.
Yes, the common ground is there.
I feel like
I think I'm about to say it in the video, but again, I don't. What was the prescription? What was the prescription that was given? I know. I was being a dick there. I was just being a dick. It's just funny that he said, "I don't even care," but I don't care. That was me being facetious. Just so everybody's clear, that was me being facetious. But yeah, again, here we're like, what is the thing? Say the thing.
As you're saying. But
yes, the common ground is there.
I feel like I'm doing that. That is what I feel like I'm doing. So maybe it's maybe you think I'm more like you than I am, and so when I behave the way that I do, you think that I'm acting like a Christian. Maybe I'm just more of a Christian-like person than you guys are. Is that possible?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe
that's not going to get them to accept atheism. That's our issue.
Maybe that's why you use the wolf in sheep's clothing thing.
No, it's not going to get them to accept atheism. That's our issue.
Eventually, they will know.
Atheism. That's again. I don't need them to accept atheism. I don't.
But they do because we grew up in the 2000s.
I don't need them to accept atheism. I need them to accept atheists. That is a huge fucking difference. That is a huge.
That's what we mean. Yes, that's what we mean.
That's what we mean. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
that's what we mean.
Okay, great. Then we all agree. Whatever is going to whatever is going to get people to accept atheists is a good thing.
Yes, but what you are doing isn't going.
Okay, I think that is a good place to tear it down, and because we go around in circles, but that we also and yes, agreed. I am much more Christian-like than they are, which is and I'm not trying to make people atheists as my primary goal. That was the disconnect. That was the whole disconnect. So if I am a little bit more, what's a little bit more? All right.
Going to get them to accept atheists.
Okay, and I mean,
it's going to get atheists to accept them, and then they will still have that political power.
I feel like that is a huge.
That you don't want them to have political power in.
I feel like having I don't number one, I don't think atheists accepting Christians is mutually exclusive from Christians accepting atheists.
Okay.
Number two,
let's put it this way.
I don't think it's mutually exclusive for atheists to accept Christians and Christians to accept atheists. So both of those can happen at the same time. Also, the fact of the matter is that while that is happening simultaneously, not everybody has to do it the same way. And so again, I am not saying that you have to be any type of person that you are not being, and I am saying that I am being the person that I am. So if you think that I'm being something that I'm not, then clearly what you think of me is not really what is me.
Okay.
Yup. And yeah, again, credit to the Christians. Said, sorry, if you are in disguise. I know my master. So me saying Christian values is not going to confuse behave and make her think, is that a Christian? She understands.
Because what you see is me acting or me behaving or saying things that are not in line with anything else. And everything I said is directly in line with everything I do. But I try.
Okay. So what I thought we were arguing was that there are Christian values we disagree with, correct? And our issue, like we could put it to Muslims, right? But our issue is those Christian values that we disagree with have political power. If you get atheists to accept them, you are not taking away that political power. You are not taking away the fact that we can then start turning them against those Christian values we disagree with.
I disagree.
Well, I'm sorry, I lost my.
It will take much more work for you to then say, "Hey, by the way, those Christian values I disagree with are bad because this, and this, and this." But they're treating you like a Christian. Now you have to then convince them. It's so much more work. You have to convince them what you are because you didn't come into them with that. Okay. If you get them to accept atheists, then you get them to accept.
This is just so dichotomous that like you are either a good or bad by being Christian or not Christian. And I don't think that Christians think that way. By and large, I think that people can see, okay, even if you don't believe the same thing I do, as long as you're not trying to get me to not believe what I know to be true, then we're cool. I think, and in my personal experience, I've seen that when you try to tell people that you're wrong and this is what I believe and you should think this, that doesn't go anywhere. Where you at, bro? Where you at, bro? All right, let's shout out our donations. Thank you to all of you. Let's put on some celebratory. Do some Oh wait, I have this open. No, I don't. It's gonna drop. It drops. Okay, there we go. Thank you so very much, guys. So very much appreciated. Look at this. You guys are amazing. Thank you so very much. And a big shout out to the members. If you are a disciple or a true disciple. And of course, we got Cody, the God Daddy. I very much appreciate that you are not only a fan of the channel, not only that you subscribe, but you are here as a member and you are down for this mission. I'm far from perfect. I'm far from having this all figured out. That is what I need you guys for, is to continue to help work this stuff out. I would never suggest that I do have all the answers. I just feel like very strongly that what people claim are the answers may indeed not. How did I start that sentence? I forgot what I said. I forgot what I said. But the people who believe that Christianity is all that there is, I'm not yet convinced. I could be convinced, but not yet. Hey, there's a video. Thank you. Well, was there a specific thing that you wanted? Like, we were just going. I don't know. We still got it here. What was there a specific thing you were waiting for? Let me know. Let's get Morty. Let's get Morty his treat. Thank you, sir. There we go. The Overlord. All right, we'll go to the next thing that you say. All right, we'll go to the next thing you say, and we'll see what you got. All right,
accept them with that.
Give us some context.
If you get them to accept atheists, then you get them to accept the atheist values that you agree with.
What is an atheist value?
Secular value, humanitarian value. We went through
Humanitarianism,
this.
secular
It's
values.
just
But
things that
Did we pass this already? Just 3?
are
Yes,
better for people as
okay,
conjunction to worse.
Fair. So, but I
No.
already believe that I believe they already accept those humanitarian values. They just call them Christian values. So I can get in the conversation with them and have them realize that they actually do believe in secular humanitarian values, just wrapped up in Christianity. Then it is much easier to get them to shed the Christianity part, because then they can realize, oh, these values can be separated from the dogma.
But the end goal is eventually, just to reiterate, the end goal would be for them to let go of the term Christian values and just accept them as humanitarian values, correct?
Yeah. I
win the debate. Thank you, everybody. It's an honor to be here.
Thank God.
The reality is,
It's been a great time.
The ending solution.
Sorry, I don't know who. Somebody's mic is freaking out. We good? Okay, sorry.
Black Salami says, I genuinely hope you try praying for the Creator to prove himself. I didn't believe until I saw either I had to see a miracle too. I do every day, man. Every single day. And I don't do it publicly. I don't make a big announcement about it. If there's a God out there, I want that relationship. I don't know what else to do. But it depends on who it is. If it's somebody I don't know, then yeah, the goal, not the end goal. No, the end goal is not for them to be the friend. The end goal is for them to see my way of thinking that morality doesn't have to be through Christianity. That's the end goal. It's the end goal for this phase of what I'm doing. That's what I'm that is the goal I'm working towards as of now. To get people to understand that a secular moral structure can exist. That it can exist. That's the goal as of right now.
I don't know.
Someone driving?
Where we can agree on this realistically.
Yeah, who is that? Is someone driving?
I don't know.
Okay.
On different people. Your way would work on some people, and our way would work on others. And realistically, we just have to do it our ways to convince as many people as possible.
Yeah.
You can break bread on that.
There we go. There we go. All right. It is Guantek.
I don't think I am.
Oh,
I don't think I am. I'm phrasing it differently depending on the way you ask it, but it's a broad goal. It's a multifaceted goal. And so you're asking for one specific thing, but getting someone to be befriending someone is a step towards the final goal. And then again, what I just said was to what I'm working towards right now.
Yeah,
I
we
think
can't
he
hear
has
you
a
at all.
ghost
And
Wow. Dude,
but not atheism. Same.
I don't hate the sinner. I hate the sin.
Exactly.
Ooh.
Exactly. So
I don't hate the sinner. I hate the sin. Guess what?
so
The sin
there.
is the
So
sinner.
again, this is the level.
There
of,
you
this is the level
go.
of
Soldier, I hate the war.
I'm not
There you
convinced of
go.
atheism. That's not a
Exactly.
thing. And so, like, atheism is not a claim; it is a rejection of a claim. You're saying
Yeah,
I'm not,
atheist just means. Sorry.
my God.
Atheism. This is a common misconception I get people, and I there is no God. I am not saying there is no. Do you believe in God? No.
Which is why we have this. We have to fight this stigma or whatever. But again, that I think maybe in our own different ways, we are working on. Again with Thomas Sheedy, who was supposed to be here today, he is very much I think on your guys' side of the specific wording. I think I had mentioned before
Let's just
about.
get to this. What is Dave's video?
And I was talking. He's making the joke. Well,
We all
I'm
atheism. That never in books. It was fun.
militant of all a head. Let's a day video. Any last words
All right.
for the people?
Yes, just 3.
Thank you very, very much, sir. All right, and our boy Cybercore, as he is now known. Thank you so very much for coming up and
I
sparking
forgot that you did that.
this conversation. And as Sarah Marie was asking before, I'm you guys could see how active I am in the.
Is one of those layers deconverting Christians? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So it may contain a process that ends up with a Christian being deconverted, but that is not what I'm focused on. That could be a byproduct of my goal of getting them to understand, but that's not the goal. What in history before Christianity would imply secular ethics? It took Christians to abolish slavery after thousands of years of people having no problem. Nothing. I'm the first of my kind, baby.
The Discord community. So definitely, if you would like to have a discussion about something, I can't promise just because you asked that we are going to dedicate a whole stream to it. But we definitely can make something happen. So let me know. Mr. Cybercore, any last words for the people? Anything to shout out? Anything at all? The floor, sir, is yours.
I think my biggest point that I made was, again, atheism is not the declaration that there is no God. It is simply not even the rejection, but the postponal hesitation to acknowledge that there is one, or that there is a reason to believe in one. I would never tell people what they can and cannot believe, and anybody that would want to invite me to church, I would gladly go have a good time. I know all the hymns, and thanks for having me. It's been an experience. Got a little heated there for a second, but that's what the people are here for, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming through, and hopefully I will.
There we go. There we go. So, okay, I was assuming you're trolling, but maybe you're not. So so what exactly are you trying to get them to understand? That a secular moral structure can exist. Step 1, get people to understand that a moral secular structure can exist. Because right now, as we're seeing, people like Behave are saying and Black Slime are saying, no, it's a no for me. Nope. Cannot even exist. Not even that I'm not willing to do it, but you can't even do that. You need God. So step 1 is to say, well, no, actually, there exists a secular moral structure without a connection to dogma. So there's a moral structure that requires no belief in truth claims that cannot be questioned. Once they understand that there's a moral structure that exists that requires no belief in truth claims that cannot be questioned, then we can start seeing, okay, how much of that can mirror your Christian moral structure. Then when you see that, like, oh, okay, they're not that different, then as long as the atheist is following that that ideology or that moral structure and behaving in a way that is acceptable to the rest of society, then we're all good. But right now, it does exist that without religion, there seems to not be a very strong prevalence of secular morality in society. It exists in philosophy and stuff, but how many people know that? And I don't mean know that in terms of have read that, even know that that exists to read it. They're using the term Christian values to show them that atheists can agree with it. Yeah. That the value that you have, that we should love, treat others the way that you want to be treated. Like I can build that into my moral structure without needing to believe in a God. You don't need to believe in a God to believe, hey, if you treat other people the way you want to be treated, it'll be good. Because guess what? We've seen an entire history of people, when they treat each other more beneficially, then their society flourishes, and when they don't, it doesn't. Which one was that? What was that about? I remember. I can see the otters in my mind, but I don't remember what it was about. And there you go. So, like, behave. Unlike Dave Video and Cybercore. Actually, Cybercore said he would never. So, if I'm misunderstanding, it's not malicious. It seemed to be that they were saying that they would prefer that you would relinquish those beliefs and you would become an atheist. As David Dio said, it worked. And it worked, meaning made people atheists. I am not ever looking for you to give up your God or your beliefs or your faith or anything. I just want to maintain the grace you already have for somebody like me. Because there's a lot of Christians who don't have the grace for people like me that you do have. That's it. So let's head over to the after party, guys. I did not expect to be doing 4 hours, and I'm going to bed decently early because I need to do a show tomorrow as well. All of you guys are members, so come on over, join the after party. Thank you very much once again. This didn't work last night, but let's try it one more time. We're gonna do it like this. Okay, ready? That is Morty. And I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect. Did it work? Yes, it worked. All right. Oh man, I messed it up. But, until next time, guys. Wait, no. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.